And welcome to Frank Goddard Stadium at Mariner High School here in Everett, Washington, where STSPN is proud to bring you WFA football. Tonight, the home team, the Everett Rain, wearing the dark green uniforms, taking on the visiting team, the Portland Fighting Shockwave. Steve Willits along with Luke Windsor, producer, engineer, everything. Todd Elvick also with us tonight. And Luke, a big game for the Rain, getting their first victory of the season last week, and you've coached football for a number of years. Anytime you struggle early in the season to find that first victory and you finally get one, sometimes that's all you need for momentum, right?
Often the first win in a season is the hardest to get. So once you get that out of the way, there's almost like this weight lifted off the collective shoulders of a team. And now the pressure's off as far as are we going to actually win a game. Now it's just go out and play football.
And now the pressure needed to be off because this is a Portland Fighting Shockwave team. Comes into this game with a record of 3-1 on the season. Their only loss was 3 weeks ago to the Seattle Majestics. And this is a Portland team that went 8-0 last year under what was then first-year head coach Tim Price. He's in his second year now, so he doesn't lose very often. They did get knocked out of the playoffs against California last year. But again, they've put up some very impressive numbers. They're going to go on offense first, and this is a team that has had 8 different players score rushing touchdowns early here in the season, and 3 different players score receiving touchdowns, which says something since they've only had 5 thus far. And the Fighting Shockwave will have the ball first as the Rain are about to kick off.
Well, 8 different players that scored rushing touchdowns. It shows it's really a running back by committee. They'll ride the hot hand, and they don't mind spreading the ball, and they have a lot of confidence whoever they put back there to carry the ball.
And it also shows that they've been in a few games where they've scored a number of points and been able to
empty the bench.
Empty the bench a little bit too, so to speak. Shockwave falling back to the 5-yard line to pick up the kick and finally retrieving it and running it out to the left side. That's number 13, Danny Riggleman, the leading wide receiver for the Shockwave this year. And she's only going to get back to the 10-yard line, so the Rain finding it opportunistic on that kickoff as the ball bounced around. Lindsey Felder's kick not very clearly received by the Shockwave, and consequently they're going to start in a bit of a hole.
Well, good hard squib, that's what that kickoff was, and those can often be the hardest to handle for any kick returner. And fortunately for Everett, it took a good bounce, and the returner bobbled it, and it had to go all the way back into her own end zone to retrieve it.
So Portland will come to the line of scrimmage for the first play of the game at their own 10-yard line, led up by the quarterback, number 9, Holly Petrie. I formation. We get flags instantly as the handoff's going to go to the fullback. And we believe that's number 36, Tess Blair, who is a 7th-year player out of Pace University.
I believe this may be an offsides on Everett because there was some movement in the neutral zone. Oh, no, it's going to go against Portland. False start.
So as if they weren't starting deep enough in their own territory, Portland will move back 5 yards, or what is essentially half the distance of the goal.
And with Everett being considered what would be considered the underdog in this game, a couple keys to any upset: win the special teams battle, which that kickoff and putting them back deep on the first one, that helps, and then win turnovers, and then don't make the big mistakes like committing penalties, don't miss assignments, and basically just even if you don't score first, but just keep the game close as the game goes on, and it'll put more and more pressure on Portland.
So Holly Petrie, the quarterback. We just mentioned Tess Blair. Danny Riggleman is the running back. I believe I misspoke and called her the wide receiver earlier. She was the one that took the opening kickoff. And Riegelman's going to get this carry out to the short side of the field. Might have gotten ahead up to around the 11 or 12-yard line, a gain of 6 or 7, which will bring up a 2nd and short for the Shockwave.
Yeah, they got the penalty yardage back plus one more. Just a little outside zone play to the short side of the field there, and they're good, decent blocking. They were outflanked the Everett defense for a moment, allowing Riggleman to pick up those yards.
Your offensive line for the Shockwave, in no particular order. Kelsey Scrudland is an offensive lineman as well, and she's number 58. Number 69, Jenna Castro. Number 70, Kristen Dillard. Number 74, Owana Dimitrusko. And number 95, Stephanie Alamatafiti. And here we go once again. Riggleman out, this time to the right. Picks up a gain of about 5 yards, and we're going to give her a first down here as the Shockwave coming up with the first chain mover of the day, if you will. Gives them a 1st and 10.
Again, outside zone again, this time to the opposite side of the field. good push by the Portland offensive line. They really get the edge and push back the perimeter defenders of Everett, allowing for the nice about 7 or 8 yard gain.
And I'm looking at those offensive line folks that I just mentioned, and I'm glad we don't call the linemen very often because there are a few names on there that I do not want to pronounce again. Number 95, we should count the letters in her name. I think it's 18 or 19 in the last name, and I'm not exaggerating, folks. Your wide receivers, number 19, Brenna Griggs, and number 3, Simone Shepard.
Got a reverse.
And there goes Griggs right there with a wide open space to the left. Picks up one block, looking for another. Out to the 45, passes midfield, and finally goes out of bounds at the 49-yard line. A little bit of a late hit there, too. However, they're going to say it was incidental. Picks up a gain of 29 yards on the play and another first down.
I think Griggs kind of slowed up as she got to the sidelines. That made it look late. But, again, the Everett defense, they bit on the first handoff, which was to the wingback, who then hands it off to the wide receiver coming the other side, and there was plenty of wide open turf for Griggs to run.
You can hear the coach. I think that might have even been Billy Russo. We just heard yell, "Stay home."
Yeah, anytime if you're a backside defender, when the play goes away from you, you want to check for a couple seconds before you go chasing after the ball.
Here comes the fourth play. We might get our first pass of the day. Petrie looking deep down the right side. Ball is just over the outstretched hands of Nicole Valerino, the other receiver we didn't mention yet, 5'2", and if she had been 5'6" or 7" on that play, she might still be running down the sideline. And not only that, she looked like she pulled up a little bit there as well.
Well, both her and the defender, Britt Flickinger, who was playing corner, who I thought Flickinger actually had a better shot at it. They both stopped, and Flickinger just kept almost running the route for the offensive player. She could have had a great chance for an interception.
So 2nd and 10 coming up. 13:01 showing on the clock here. First quarter. Opening drive of the game. The Fighting Shockwave of Portland with the first possession of the game. Over the middle. Ball is picked off and intercepted by the birthday girl. That's Nora Shankman. Her 24th birthday today on May 6th. And she comes up with a big interception wearing the number 6. And the Reign offense will come onto the field for the first time this afternoon, taking it over at their own 35-yard line.
One of the things you always want to tell a quarterback, never throw it late or high over the middle. That pass was high. It was overthrown, and Nora Shankman playing at her free safety spot, just playing a little center field to be able to find it and pick it off. Nice play for the birthday girl.
So, again, they will bring their offense out onto the field for the first time tonight, starting at the 35-yard line. Defense has done a nice job so far in the games we've covered this year. It's been offense where they've struggled a bit. We'll see if they can get something going here after Michele Walsh brought the team back last week. And a nice run off tackle, opening play of the offensive drive, and that goes for 14 yards. And that's number 12, Lindsay Felder.
And have to give a lot of credit to the offensive line. They blew open a huge hole off tackle on the left side. Felder could have driven a golf cart through that one.
And Felder, according to the stats that we have up here, she's only had 5 carries all season for 20 yards, almost doubling her input right there on the first play.
If that first carry is an indication of how she could have, keep feeding her the ball.
So we'll see if they decide to go back to her. Oh, we just received word. She actually went out injured in the Tacoma game, which was the opening game of the year. Hasn't played since. She's playing now, and she's bulldozing players over. Gains 6 yards on that pickup. It's going to bring up a 2nd and 4, and Felder got a nice hole, but she really had to create a little bit for the last 3 or 4 yards. She just carried players with her.
That was her just kind of lowering her pad level and just dragging defenders with her. That time is more of just a good push from the offensive line, but already in the first 2 plays, Everett has found something running off tackle to on their left side.
Let's see if they're going to make it a three-peat here and do it one more time. Walsh brings the offense back up. Felder once again in that tailback spot. Almost pulled a little early. The handoff, no. The fake rolls out to the right, fires it down the field. She's got a receiver open. Just off the hands of number 13. That's Emilia Carr. Great throw by Walsh. Carr just not able to make the connection there, and that will bring up a 3rd and 4.
I thought Carr was going to be able to run underneath that one. The ball was well thrown. I think Carr may have been a little too aware of she's getting close to the sidelines and wanting to stay in bounds. Just go catch it and then drag your feet.
And we know that Emilia Carr having a nice season thus far. We've seen her plenty of times make quality catches. That time there, just not able to bring it in. So we start to look at our stats as we go along here as well. Carr with 4 catches for 80 yards thus far, and she sure would have liked to have had number 5 right there. Felder goes in motion, fake the handoff to her, and then they give to the fullback. Pelham looking for room up the middle. Finds a little bit, but not much. And Nikki Pelham might have picked up 2 on the play, and that will bring up a 4th and 2. And once again, it will bring up a decision for Billy Russo as to what he wants to do here, as the Reign will either have to punt or go for it here on 4th.
On that play, Everett faked the fly sweep, then gave it to Pelham on an inside zone. And while the first defender in the backfield didn't make the tackle, she got at least a hand on Pelham, slowed her down enough, allowing the rest of the defense to get there. And whenever the inside or outside zone running game, what kills that is penetration. Even if the defenders who get in the backfield don't make the tackle, if they can just slow things up, and it allows the rest of the defense to make a play.
And we've seen Coach Russo gamble quite a bit earlier on in the season on 4th down. This time he brings the punt team out, and we get whistles and flags, and everything else on the field now is
delay a game.
That will push it back and make the decision that much easier. Should mention our, we'll let you do it here, Luke, our referees for today's game.
Our referee is David Sather, umpire Scott Roan, linesman James Leach, line judge Bob Zamora, and back judge who threw that flag there for the delay game, Chris Dietrich.
So now we're looking at a 4th and 7 with 10:39 to go in the first quarter. A lot of movement there, and finally the whistles blow once again. So those 5 you just mentioned getting a nice little workout here early.
Yeah.
Or at least blowing the whistles anyway. I don't know how much of a workout that is, but nonetheless they're keeping busy.
Keeps the lungs healthy.
Exactly.
And it looked like it should be a false start on Everett. They had a couple of their line offsides on Portland.
Oh, okay. Give 5 and you get it back.
4th and short again, but still, with the way their defense is playing this year, if they can play the field position game early on, they can set themselves up for some success.
Felder takes the snap, a nice high kick, fielded at the 11-yard line, and that ball is going to be returned. That's number 85, Nicole Valerino, and she gets buried underneath at the 17, a gain of 2 on the play, and for the second consecutive drive, Portland starting deep within the 20-yard line of their own side of the field.
And that was Brooklyn Holton, who I believe was a long snapping. She came down and made the tackle, did a good job in space, breaking down. Just it wasn't a great necessarily form tackle, but she got a hold of the returner and didn't let go.
And we watched this Reign team struggle a couple weeks ago in that game against the Majestics with their long snapping. In the Tacoma game, for that matter, too, a little bit. So
wasn't
good to
the greatest long snap, but she made up for it with the tackle.
Yeah, as long as you're not snapping it over the kicker's head and everything else, that's what you really don't want to see. And we've had a few more of those plays than we'd like to already this season. Here comes the Portland Shockwave for their second drive of the game, and this one's going to go right up the middle as Tess Bear, the fullback, carries that one ahead to the 22-yard line and a gain of 5 on the play.
So just a simple fullback dive, and the quarterback and the tailback were carrying out an option fake, so look for Portland to maybe run some triple option later on in the game.
See number 69 coming up to the center. That's Jenna Castro. Griggs lined up closest to our screen here. Valerino out to the far side. And we're going to get a pitch this time. That's number 24 making the carry. First time today, Rebecca Dawson. And a nice job by the Everett Reign, and in particular forced Larson to stay home on that one a little bit, read the play nicely, and pushed Dawson out of bounds.
Larson doing her job. It looks like playing the outside linebacker, corner position, taking the pitch to man and just staying at home, not biting on the quarterback. And I guess I predicted option, so
nicely done.
Portland, listen to me.
The coach. Perhaps Seattle heard you predict that and made the defensive adjustment, and we got a 3rd and 2 coming up here. Petrie hands off the football. Dawson once again, and this time lunges forward along that left side. Needed 2 and got just enough, picked up 3, and picks up yet another Portland first down, and we have our first injury of the game as well. So it looks like number 74, Owana Dimitrisco, is down on the ground.
And so many times with linemen with injuries, especially near the point of attack. It's always maybe friendly fire where one of them teammates falls on the back of their leg, or maybe the defender who's getting blocked by someone else falls on the injuries are never fun, but when it's someone that you don't even see that gets you, that's tough to protect yourself against that.
Nice to see Rebecca Dawson all over there to check as well to make sure that her comrade and fallen teammate is okay.
Well, all running backs should take care of their linemen.
Absolutely. Running backs, quarterbacks.
Yeah.
You see that in the NFL a lot. They take them out to dinner and buy them gold watches. I don't know in this league, but
Ezekiel Elliott, to thank his offensive line last season, he got all of his guys some like all-terrain vehicles or something to ride out on their property. So
not a bad thing to have. And I think we're going to take a quick break right now. We'll be right back. You are watching STSPN.com.
Hugs all around. Come here, let's have a TV hug. Get right in here. Get close to your TV. Oh, yeah, there you go. Feels great. Okay. All right, so we are psyched because next week, starting Monday, we reveal the winners in Best of Western Washington. Here are some hints. Find out what this guy has to do with your favorite food truck. Winners all next week. Well, this week, we're cruising the Caribbean. Tomorrow night, Jim takes us to St. Thomas. Up next, it's The Voice. How much more time do we have? 5 seconds.
And welcome back to Frank Goddard Stadium here in Everett, Washington. It is Everett Reign football from the WFA. The Reign hosting the Portland Fighting Shockwave. And fortunately, number 74, Awana Dimitrescu, is up on her feet and walking over to the sideline. We'll keep an eye on Awana to see if she's able to come back in the game. So again, 1st and 10 for the Shockwave at their own 28-yard line. No score here in the first quarter.
Fumble.
Ball is on the ground, and it looks as though. So wait the signal here. Yes.
Everett got it.
Everett does, in fact, have the football. Number 73, Janelle Aaliyah, coming up with it. And for the first time today.
It happened on the handoff, and I think that also might be on the running back because it didn't look like she had her arms either wide enough, far enough apart, or they maybe have the wrong arm up to take that handoff.
And for the first time today, the Everett Reign inside the 25-yard line of the Shockwave. 2 possessions for Portland, 2 turnovers here early on.
And if you're Everett, you get the ball this deep, you have to take advantage. You cannot let opportunities like this against a good team pass by.
We've seen Everett with these opportunities in the past and come away empty-handed. We'll see if they can get something going right here as Michele Walsh brings her team back up. Nor Shankman out to the left. Emilia Carr to the right. Handoff's going to go to Felder. Felder looking for room on the right side. The pile trying to push back the defense. Felder still on her feet. Breaks off of 1 tackle and is finally brought down at the 16-yard line. Great job by not only the line in trying to get that push, but an even better job by Felder to keep her legs churning and getting ahead forward near the first down.
Wow, Felder, she did a great job just keeping her legs and feet moving, not giving up on the play. And she's listed at 5'2", and sometimes for a shorter running back, it's real easy if the defenders just have you kind of wrapped up around your shoulder, even your head. It just kind of pop out and keep going, and that's what she did there.
And they could use 1 or 2 more of those right now and potentially get in the end zone here. 8:12 to go here in the first quarter. No score. The Everett Reign threatening right now. And we get a new running back, and this time it's Brooklyn Holton. Holton playing the tailback, and she's going to get the carry up the middle. Not a whole lot of space, but enough for a first down. We'll give her 4 yards on the play, and we'll move the chains as the Reign are now on the 13-yard line of the Shockwave.
Nice initial hold again created by the offensive line, allowing Holton to get through. One thing I like to see Holton do, and even Felder as well, although Felder can sometimes get away with it because she is 5'2", but the Everett running backs right now, they're running very upright, straight up. Lower the pad level a little bit more. You can get some more yards after contact.
So for the second time today, Seattle picks up a first down. First one on this particular drive. Trying to capitalize on that fumble just a few moments ago. And now you see 0-2 on the field. That is number 2, Casey Cornist. Saw Casey have a monster game down at Tacoma 3 weeks ago. She's playing the fullback. They fake the pitch, a little bit of a broken play, and Walsh is wrapped up at the 16-yard line and dropped very quickly. Number 99, Tara Krugel, coming in and making the play. It's going to bring up a 2nd and long.
The way the offensive line was blocking, it looked like it was supposed to be a counter trade to the right, but I think maybe both running backs went the wrong way on that one, so there's just some miscommunication there.
So Cornish comes in for one play and then heads off. Nikki Pelham, number 21, checking back in. Michele Walsh, who is the team leader in touchdowns so far this year with 3. Doesn't run a lot. She's more of a
Quarterback
sneak up the middle, catching you off guard type. They're hustling up to the line, trying to catch the team off guard as Shankman lines up out to the left. Handoff goes to Holton. Holton trying to cut it out to the left and then cuts it back towards the middle. Doesn't find much room. Might have picked up a yard on the play as she falls down to the 15-yard line.
Good penetration there by Portland, especially number 58, Kelsey Scrudlin, got in there. I don't think she was going to get credit with the tackle, but she got in there first and forced Holton to slow up.
The Jams pumping here today. Nice job by the Reign staff trying to get the energy up here a little bit. 3rd and 12 coming up here. 6:05 to go. First quarter, no score. The home team Reign looking to put the first points on the board, and they get a pitch to Holton. Holton finds a little space, spins out of one tackler, and falls forward to the 5-yard line. About 2 yards short of the first down, but Brooklyn Holton picking up 10 on the play, and that's going to give Coach Russo another decision here from the 5.
Nice job blocking there by Nora Shankman on the outside at the wide receiver spot. She was able to keep the corner out of that play and allow Holton to get upfield.
Holton with 2 carries for 11 yards now as she trots off the field.
And sometimes seen from the Portland defense, they're playing their linebackers really in tight, so if Everett wanted, they could catch them with their hands in the cookie jar to say play action pass and maybe get the tight end, pop her over the middle behind the linebackers.
And Lindsay Felder coming on to attempt a field goal, which will be 23 yards out. Portland, I don't know if they weren't ready for it or just saw something they didn't like. Regardless, Tim Price decides to use a timeout here with 5 in the first quarter.
I don't know if Everett was on the same page because they had someone who's looking like they're going to line up out as a wide receiver on the far side too. So
maybe that even if they were or weren't on the same page, maybe that's what threw Portland off and forced them to use one of their timeouts.
They're lining up for a field goal with a wide receiver. Something's not right.
So we'll see what Portland does to counter that here right now, or if we'll see if the alignment for the Everett Reign changes, as it looks like Emilia Carr now is in fact pulled inside. Felder lining up. She stands right around the 16-yard line. Again, this will be a 24-yard attempt. Left hash. And Michele Walsh, the quarterback.
It's important with the
long holder.
The snap is important here.
Here comes the snap. Ball is placed. Kick is up. And it is through the uprights. The Everett Reign are on the board with 5:15 to go in the first quarter. It is the Reign 3, the Fighting Shockwave 0. You're watching STSPN.com. And welcome back to Goddard Stadium here in Everett, Washington. The Reign are on the board first. They lead 3-0 here as the Portland Shockwave trying to retrieve this kickoff and finally do so at the 31-yard line, and getting ahead for a gain of 7 is number 87, Maylee Sikowicz. Sikowicz bringing that ball into the middle of the field, and Portland with their best field position of the day so far as their first 2 drives started at their own 10 and their own 17.
Another hard squib kick. This time Portland's able to keep it from getting deep in their own territory. That's the thing with those squib kicks. Yeah, they can do what they do on the first kickoff, cause some problems. But if the return team is alert, they can get some really good field position by stopping it short and getting up the field.
So your quarterback, Holly Petrie, bringing – no, we're going to switch at quarterback now as Veronica Ferguson wearing that number 21, 5'5". I did see her warming up at quarterback earlier in the day. I'm not sure if this is a plan thing, if they do this from time to time or not. Perhaps they just haven't liked what they've seen so far. Gives the handoff to number 13, Danny Riggleman. Riggleman getting forward to the 44-yard line before she's finally dragged down by the back of her jersey after picking up 7.
Yeah, they ran a counter trade to the left this time, and good initial hold, and then it was just Sarah Cooper chasing down from the backside who just got a hold of some cloth and didn't let go.
Not a bad way to do it, as Riggleman unofficially now 3 carries for 24 yards.
Yeah, I don't know if this is planned or if 2 turnovers was enough for the hook.
Yeah, I've got to think. I mean, this is a team that has put up a lot of offense this year so far. I'm guessing that they're not going to panic too much. Perhaps they're just trying to get a different look and see how Everett adjusts. And Bear up the middle using her girth to get past midfield all the way to the 49-yard line. Give her a gain of 7 on the play.
And another fullback dive, a staple of any triple option offense, and good push by the offensive line.
This is the second time now that Portland has been able to cross over into Everett territory. The last time it was at this very same spot where they threw the interception to Shankman.
That's key. Can they hold on to the ball this time?
Yet to see our first completion of the game. Petrie has an incomplete as well as an interception. Now Ferguson perhaps will see if they let her throw it all.
Only got 6 on the line of scrimmage. I wonder if the refs see this and will throw the flag. Yes, they do.
Flag is down. Nice eye by the former coach there and being stuffed in the backfield by big number 73, Janelle Allier, is the running back, Danny Riggleman, who is thrown backwards. But there is, in fact, a flag down, as Luke Windsor mentioned.
Which I would decline based on the loss of yards, and that's going to make it second down. I think Everett should decline this. Illegal formation, only 6 players on the line of scrimmage, but with that tackle for loss, I'd decline it.
Once a coach, always a coach. You caught that one right away. We were joking earlier. This was your home stadium for both you as a high school player and as a coach.
As a coach. I say home, but I use that term loosely since I played and coached for Kamiak. And I still don't feel like it's a home field if you have to take a bus to the stadium when you're in high school.
But if your home games are here, I guess, and you don't have anywhere else to play, it's as homey as it gets, correct?
I could say some things, but if the wrong person heard it, I could get in trouble.
The old Kamiak Mariner rivalry there, the Muckleteal School District.
What Kamiak wanted to do and was not given permission to, I'll just say that. Leave it at that.
Fair enough. 2nd and 16 coming up. A little movement along the front there. They did, in fact, decline the penalty. Riggleman looking to go to the right this time, and she's stuffed by 2 different players, one of which is number 13, Emilia Carr. The other one, number 2, Casey Cornist. And once again, and no real surprises, we've seen it time and time again over the course of this season, the Everett Reign defense is tough.
Great job by Carr filling the alley from her safety position, because it looked like a couple players bit inside on that, and it looked like Portland had a chance to get outside, but Carr just snuffed that out.
So they're going to spot it right between the 48 and the 49-yard line of Portland. We'll call it a 2-yard gain on the play. It's unofficially now 5 carries for 21 yards for Riggleman. And 3rd and 13 coming up.
3rd and long, backup quarterback, so we could see something safe, maybe a screen or a rollout pass.
By the way, Holly Petrie, the starting quarterback, over there on the sideline, standing right next to the coaches, so it doesn't appear to be an injury anyways.
And a delay of game.
How many of those are we going to see today? And that's not the optimal time when you're looking at a 3rd and 13 to get one, is it?
No, and some of the coaches got to get the play in faster. Especially when you don't, there's no play clock for the teams to look at. The coaches got to be thinking ahead and get the plays in faster.
They need to get to the 39 of the Reign Ferguson dropping back, her first throw of the game. Looking, drops it out into the flat, incomplete. Put that at the feet of number 85, Nicole Volarino. And that's going to bring up a 4th and 16.
And great pressure by Regina Buckmiller from her defensive line spot, chasing the quarterback down and really not allowing her to set her feet to maybe make a throw farther down the field.
So for the first time today, we will see the Portland punting team onto the field.
But they didn't turn it over, so that is an improvement.
Yeah, they've got an interception, a fumble, and now a punt coming up.
And whether you like Nick Saban or not, one thing that he tells his quarterbacks are any possession that ends with the ball getting kicked, whether it's a punt or field goal or extra point, is good. And when you have his type of defenses he has every year, he can say that.
Simone Shepard, their wide receiver, is also the punter. Kick bounces at the 36-yard line and takes a little bit of a fighting Shockwave roll all the way inside the 30, and they will down it at the 28-yard line. It's going to be a 35-yard kick. And once again, the Everett Rain with 1:52 left on the clock here in the first quarter, and the 3-point lead will bring their offense back onto the field.
And so far, if you're Everett, you can't ask for a much better start. They've forced a couple turnovers. They have a lead, and they're keeping a very high-powered offense off the scoreboard. Anytime you're trying to pull off an upset, that's the type of start you need.
So the Rain, who have taken over at their own 35, the Portland 25 will now start the third drive of the game at their own 28-yard line. We'll see what they can do with this one. The last one ending with that field goal. 24-yarder by Lindsey Felder. Walsh, shotgun formation. 2 receivers spread out to the left. A little bit of a botched snap there. It was high there. Are they going to call that a fumble? If they are, then it's going to be Portland ball. Now we get one referee waving it off as a incomplete pass.
That looks like an intentional grounding.
Certainly looked like Walsh's hand was going forward, and you've got to call that a grounding, but the right call nonetheless, right, Luke?
Yeah, it's the right call. She might have been out of the tackle box, but the ball then has to get to the line of scrimmage or beyond, and that clearly did not. And the high snap really messed up the timing of that play because it looked like Everett was trying to set up a screen, but because the quarterback's trying to jump up and corral the snap, she's when she's finally looking up, she's seeing a defensive lineman in her face a lot sooner than she expected.
And that play appeared to be doomed from the get-go as it's going to push them all the way back inside the 10-yard line. The original line of scrimmage at the 29, so you're now looking at a first and 20 or second and you lose down also.
Second and Mill Creek.
Second and Mill Creek as they are needing to get just around the 39-yard line for a first down as Walsh once again in shotgun formation. Felder, one of the slot receivers, out to the left. She's going to go over the middle. The pass was incomplete. Just a little bit out of the reach of her outstretched hands as number 30, Leah Hinkle, defensive lineman, or at least listed as a defensive lineman. It looked like she was almost more of a linebacker. That play had a chance.
She lined up at linebacker, and she was looking at Walsh's eyes the whole play and read that. And the umpire kind of got in the way and kind of helped Walsh run some interference. Otherwise, Hinkle might have had a shot at picking that off.
So 3rd and 29 coming up. Walsh once again in shotgun formation. Felder in the slot to the left. Looks like Shankman to the right. They're going to go deep to Shankman, who was on the left. That ball is intercepted at the 26-yard line. Number 14, Erin Miller. She already has 2 pick sixes on the year, and she's going to be dragged down at the 9-yard line. The Portland Fighting Shockwave are in business with 1:29 to go here in the first quarter.
Just trying to throw a 50-50 ball up to Shankman, and she threw it to the inside, and Miller was able to get inside position on Shankman and make the interception, nearly took it back, and that's the last thing Everett needs to do. You never want to turn it over, but if you are, don't turn it over deep into your own end. And that's what, unfortunately for Everett, that's what they did there. So it's up to the defense to, really with their backs up against the wall, to make a big stop.
Yeah, that was the last player you wanted to throw a 50-50 with. As we mentioned, she's already returned 2 of those for touchdowns this year, and if she had just been able to get outside just a little bit more, she might have had number 3 there. As once again, Veronica Ferguson staying in at quarterback. Rebecca Dawson is your tailback right now. 36, Tess Bear is your fullback. Handoff goes to Dawson. Dawson being brought down hard at the 8-yard line. Number 91 on the play. It's Regina Buckmiller making the tackle.
2 plays in a row for Buckmiller. She just shot her gap there and just was able to kind of corral the running back down. And now really Everett they just need 3 more plays like that.
Get a little bit of a chant going on as the Everett Rain fans right directly below us here as we are on the north side of the field, looking down on the action in what has become a really gorgeous night here in the Pacific Northwest. We haven't had very many of these this year so far.
Is spring showing up?
It might be, perhaps. So with 45 seconds to go and counting here, still not feeling too spring-like as it's a little bit windy. The wind kind of swirling around here and blowing, and we're gonna get a timeout here with 41 seconds to go in the quarter. We'll take a 30-second break. You're watching STSPN.com. And welcome back to Goddard Stadium here in Everett, Washington. Steve Willits along with Luke Windsor and Todd Elvick. The Everett Rain with the early 3-0 lead late in the first quarter. However, the Portland Fighting Shockwave are knocking at the door as they look to try to get on the scoreboard for the first time today thanks to the interception returned by Aaron Miller just a few moments ago. 2nd and 6 coming up as Veronica Ferguson resumes her post at the quarterback spot where she's been for the last 2 drives now. Interesting set this time as Dawson takes the pitch out to the left, trying to find some open space, looking for the sideline and gets busted out of bounds at the 5-yard line. It looked as though Forrest Larson was in pursuit, but Brooklyn Holton came over to clean it up.
Larson did a good job stringing that out towards the sideline for Holton to clean up. That time Portland lined up in a power ice set, and they're just trying to get an extra blocker in the backfield and just try to run a little power toss sweep, and Everett did a good job defending.
23 seconds and counting. This may, in fact, be the last play of the quarter. We'll see. 3rd and goal from the 5-yard line. Dawson continuing to line up in that tailback position. And they're going to go right back to her. She finds some space. Does she find the end zone? We're awaiting the call. Yes, she does. Touchdown Shockwave as the Portland Fighting Shockwave get on the scoreboard here with 4 seconds to go in the first quarter, and they now lead 6-3.
And I think there's an injured player for Everett. Hey, that play is just a lead ISO to the weak side, and there's a nice hole open up by the Portland offensive line, allowing Dawson, who I thought was going to be able to go in standing up, but still she got it. She was able to get that ball across the goal line.
Dawson, who's found the running space tough to come by here so far. This time finding just enough for the touchdown as we await to see who, in fact, is down for the Rain. Once again, the wind continues to pick up here on what is otherwise a very pleasant night.
This feels like what early spring should have been.
Yeah, very, very true. And we really haven't had that yet here in May 6th, and we're still awaiting ours as looks as though a few of the players are starting to.
But we've had a near Midwest caliber thunderstorm.
And Thursday night was ridiculous here, yeah.
And for those of us like me who live in Mukilteo, a plane crash.
That's right, we didn't. Yeah. Which we should mention if anybody in Portland's watching, a plane crash in which nobody was injured. And
I've seen the video of it too. Which
Nikki Pelham was the injured player on the play.
She's in fact able to come off under her own power.
Pelham walking gingerly off the field right now. See if she can get back into the game. And Tess Baer, the fullback, number 36, is also the kicker for the Shockwave. We'll see if she can put this one through the uprights and make it 7-3. Kick is low. Does it crawl over? It, in fact, does. Just enough distance to give them the extra point. Portland 7, Everett 3. We'll take another quick break. You're watching STSPN.
Yeah, did you see the dash cam video someone had?
I did, yeah. That was crazy. And welcome back to Everett, Washington. The Portland Fighting Shockwave completing a 3-play, 10-yard drive. We'll call it 3-play, 9-yard drive, thanks to the interception of Aaron Miller. And the touchdown was scored by Rebecca Dawson from 4 yards out. Portland, who has had a high-powered offense all season long, took them almost 15 minutes to get on the board here. 4 seconds remaining in the first quarter. They now not only get on the board, but have their first lead of the game, 7-3, as Tess Bear, number 36, lines up for the kickoff.
And really, they still might not be on the board if it hadn't been for the turnover. So they were fortunate enough to take advantage of a Everett mistake.
We get whistles all over the place. Just to quickly look at the Portland Shockwave results this year so far. They defeated Tacoma in the first game of the year 54-6. They then lost to the Seattle Majestics 24-21. Then they defeated the Southern Oregon Lady Renegades 62-20. Then went on the road to Tacoma and defeated them 28-6. And now we've got the game tonight. So really 2 games in which they've scored over 50, and the other 2 they were in the 20s. So this is a team that can put up some points. Yeah,
and really the touchdown that they just scored, I'm not going to pin that on the Everett defense because they had to defend it.
No, absolutely
9-yard field.
Yeah.
So and they've for the most part played pretty well tonight. So
when we saw that 2 weeks ago in the game against Seattle, they had a pick. Seattle had a pick 6. Tacoma game was set up by a fumble which lost 20 yards, and then it was a 41-yard touchdown. So really, they haven't had a lot of long sustained drives that the opponents have had on them. And North Shankman, on her birthday, turning 24 today, and another nice kickoff. If she gets it out near midfield, we'll put her down at the 48. And we've come to the end of the first quarter of play in what's been a very tightly contested game. Portland 7, Everett 3. We're going to take a quick break. You're watching STSPN.com.
I've said too much.
And we are back here at Goddard Stadium in Everett, ready for the second quarter of action. The Everett Rain with the football, trailing 3-7 here against the Portland Fighting Shockwave. Steve Willits along with Luke Windsor and Todd Elvick. The Everett Rain offense taking the field for the 4th time today, and doing so in pretty good field position thanks to the nice return by North Shankman.
They've been winning the field position battle. Now they just got to take advantage of that and put up some points.
See if they can do it right here. Walsh in shotgun formation, trips out to the left, fakes the handoff, throws the screen pass to Shankman. Shankman catching it, getting past midfield all the way down to the 46-yard line for a gain of 5 yards.
And Shankman did a good job just to get those 5 yards because there was a couple of missed blocks there. And if the blocks had been made, Shankman might have had a chance to break one.
And more importantly, Everett with their first completion of the game.
And also, anytime you can get at least 4 or 5 yards on first down, it keeps you really on schedule as far as the play calling sequence that you want to have on each set of downs.
Felder back in as the tailback. Pelham, who is apparently recovered enough to play again from the injury she sustained on that touchdown score by Portland. She's in at fullback. Carr lined up out to the right, Shankman out to the left. They're going to pitch it to Felder. Felder getting a nice hole initially, pushes forward. Got maybe a yard on the play, so we'll call it a 3rd and 5 coming up for the Reign.
Initially, there was a hole there, but then it closed off quickly. The Portland defensive end defeated her block. She was getting blocked by the tight end, and she was able to defeat that block and close in and make the tackle.
So 13:52, the clock showing here in the second quarter and running. Reign looking for their second win of the year, coming off the 35-0 defeat over Southern Oregon last week. This time Walsh underneath center, I formation. Fakes the handoff, rolls out to the left, looking for Shankman downfield. Finally dumps it to the tight end at the 40 and getting ahead to the 35-yard line. That is number 22 on the play. A very nicely drawn-up play as Sarah Cooper getting her first catch of the game, and she gets all the way down to the 35-yard line. A gain of 12 and a first down.
Nice play there. There was a play-action waggle, and Walsh had really, there was no one in front of her, so she could have actually kept him, probably gotten the first down too. But she's able to dump it off to Cooper, let Cooper take that punishment down the field.
Yeah, great play. I had my eyes on Shankman the entire time. She went down about 15, 20 yards downfield and ran an out pattern, but then Cooper just kind of dragging across the middle there.
Well,
and
typically on any waggle, the progression for the quarterback is if you have a receiver in the flat right in front of you, then look tight end on the drag, and then look downfield for that post corner.
And it worked well. Pelham this time getting a carry off the kind of in between left guard, left tackle, lunges forward for 2.5 on the play. Everett just trying to move the chains and
this
get
drive,
the ball down the field.
And this drive is really important for Everett because they lost a little bit of momentum there with that interception and the touchdown, so they need to get the momentum back.
And good to get Walsh a couple of completions to gain some confidence there, too. She's thrown 9 on the year so far, and seen her at times look very good, and especially when she gets a little room to run. Like you mentioned, she's a little bit of a dual threat when she needs to be. Pelham at the fullback spot. They're going to give it to Felder. This time the defense is waiting for her, and she gets stuffed at the line of scrimmage and might have even lost a yard on the play.
That was a defensive line meeting in the backfield type of play. The Portland front, they did a great job getting in the backfield and giving Felder nowhere to go.
But 5 plays this drive so far, taking up just a little over 3 minutes. Everett looking for potentially their first touchdown of the game. 34-yard line of the Shockwave. It's a pretty big defensive front there, too. You got number 47, Kelsey Backistow, number 36, Tess Bear. And they fake the sweep, give it to Pelham. Pelham with a dive up the middle, and she might have picked up 2, and that's going to leave them short as we're going to be looking at a 4th and the scoreboard's showing 4th and 5. I think that's very optimistic. It's more like 4th and 8. And
well, that looked like Everett was trying to run a trap with Pelham, and I think Pelham just didn't read her blocks correctly because there was a bit of a crease there if she'd cut back to the left.
I have a feeling we might see a punt situation for Everett coming up for the second time today. Or maybe not. It looks like Walsh is in there.
It feels like this is kind of sort of the territory where it's 4 down. You're looking at 4 downs no matter what, and that's what Everett's doing here.
We're going to see here 4th and 8. Walsh throws it deep across the middle. Ball is overthrown as she had no, that's Holton was the intended receiver, and that's going to be the turnover on downs. And we've seen Everett in this situation from time to time over the last few weeks. You get kind of in that 30 to 40-yard range, and if you kick it and you kick it into the end zone, then your net punt is only about 13 yards. But then again, if you can squib it down inside the 10, you're setting your defense up rather nicely too.
It really just depends how much you trust your punter but on that play there, Walsh just kind of gotten through. There was no pressure. I would like to actually seen her get her feet set under her, look the safety one way, and then throw it back the other.
So Portland will take over on their own. We'll call it the 30, it's about the 33-yard line. First possession of the second quarter for them. And we get one of those plays that
fullback dive up the middle.
Not only fakes out a couple of the other team members, it also faked out the play-by-play announcer here as I was looking in one direction and Bear was going in another as she picks up about 3 or 4 yards on the play. Not a bad dive.
Yeah, they gave it the dive, then faked a little end around with the wing back, and that time Everett did it. At least up the middle defenders did a good job staying at home.
So 2nd and 6 coming up, 10-10 to go here, second quarter. Portland with the 7-3 lead. And by the way, Petrie's back in at quarterback now. Dawson looking for room and doesn't find any. Forrest Larson brings her down, but she had a little help along the way.
Yeah, Janelle Leah from her defensive line spot doesn't make the tackle, but she got the penetration into the backfield and really just made life miserable for the Portland offense there, setting up a 3rd and long.
And that was Rebecca Dawson once again with the carry. So we're looking at a 3rd and 7 coming up. Looking at the Everett team out there that's on the field. You see Sarah Cooper, number 22, playing that defensive end position. We've already mentioned Aaliyah's name a few times. Also number 91, Regina Buckmiller, playing along the line there. Handoff's going to go to Dawson. Dawson trying to cut it out to the right. Only found a couple of yards there, and I would think that's going to bring up yet another punting situation. And once again, the Everett defense not allowing much.
That's a play call acknowledging by the Portland coaches, acknowledging, A, we're up against a good defense, but B, our defense is playing pretty good too. And so we have the lead. We can go ahead and play it safe. If we get the first down, great. If not, we can punt it and put our defense back out in the field, let them get us the ball back.
Not able to see who the injured Reign player is. Nikki Pelham, who was the last player that was injured, is now standing, or at least kneeling over the injured player, trying to return perhaps the favor that was given to her earlier. And it looks like it's Buckmiller, number 91, who's going to finally pop to her feet and head off the field. And it appears as though number 89, Shane Matson, is now in the game, and I think she ultimately might be taking Buckmiller's place here on this upcoming play. Also number 7, Alyssa Allen, playing on the outside there at the linebacker spot on the left side, or perhaps defensive end.
And let's see if the Everett special teams can help out their offense a little bit. They're going for it.
They're going for it here.
Wow.
Yeah. 4th and 4.
This is real confidence in their defense.
Yeah, in your own territory. Petrie under center. Fakes it to Dawson, rolls out to the right, looking downfield. She's got an open receiver, completes it for the first down, and brought down at the 49-yard line is Simone Shepard. She needed 4, gains 10.
That was a counter pass where they faked the counter tray, then rolled the other way, and Shepard was able to get just enough separation from her defender to present a good open target for the quarterback, and nice completion there for Portland.
And unofficially, I have that down as the first completion of the game for Portland. And it goes to Shepard and comes at a time in which they needed something there. They took a chance, went for it, and paid off for them as they're looking at a new set of downs. Now 1st and 10. Dawson this time finding a lot more room, looking for the edge on the left side, gets it, and is finally dragged out at the 38-yard line as Cornist and Holton both coming over to make the stop, but not until she picks up yet another first down.
And that was an outside zone to the left side there, and they got some help. I believe that whoever was playing defensive end on that side for Everett jumped inside and allowed whoever was blocking her to hook blocker, creating a nice open lane for the running back to get down the field.
So a 10-yard pass followed up by a 13-yard rush, and all of a sudden Portland in business once again as they are on the 38-yard line of Everett. Petrie continuing to play quarterback. Riggleman getting another carry. She looks to go outside, this time to the right. Finds a little bit of space, gets out to the 33-yard line, a gain of 6 on the play, and she's finally brought down right along the sideline, but not before picking up some more positive yardage.
And another outside zone this time the opposite way. And what I've seen a couple times now on these outside zones that Portland's running is that the Everett defensive ends, they're jumping inside, and they're almost blocking themselves by doing that. They're not maintaining their leverage, and they're giving up the edge and putting a lot of pressure on the outside linebackers, corners, and even the safeties to come up and make a tackle.
I can't figure out if Riggleman's having a wardrobe issue or an injury of some sort. She had to roll off the field along the sideline right towards her own bench, and we're going to get movement here as that is definitely a offsides on the right tackle. But Riggleman, it looks now that they're maybe adjusting some of the pads.
Yeah, I saw she rolled off, which a little unusual. You don't see that often.
No, and I thought for a moment there maybe she was just trying to keep the play going and getting out of the way, but I think in fact she appears anyway to be okay. She is the starting tailback for this team, so we'll keep an eye on her. Petrie handing the ball off. Dawson once again. No, it's number 14 this time. That's Erin Miller. Miller, whose name we called earlier after that interception. Finds a little bit of space up the middle, but not much. It's going to bring up a 3rd and 7 for the Fighting Shockwave.
And keep in mind, last time Portland had third down, they ran it right up the middle, which we thought was more of a they're going to just play field position, but no, they're going for it. And this is definitely 4-down territory, so every play in the playbook is available to them.
3rd and 7 coming up. Petrie once again in at quarterback. Fakes the handoff, looking deep along the right sideline, fires the ball down the field. The ball is completed at the 12-yard line and dragged down at the 5 is Nicole Villarino. Villarino on the play, picking up, well, we'll call it 31 yards. And once again, the Portland Fighting Shockwave inside the 10-yard line of the Reign.
Villarino, she kept running her out. The corner defending there stopped for a moment. I don't know if she lost the ball. I will say in her defense, the shadows are kind of going in that direction, so she may have lost the ball in the sun and just couldn't see what was going on.
Villarino from Southern Oregon University. We mentioned her earlier, only 5'2", but looks like she's got some decent wheels, and the second time she gets behind the defense. First one was just a little overthrown. This time, ball is completed, and the Shockwave are knocking on the door one more time. Dawson up the middle. Dawson finding nowhere to go. Emilia in on the tackle. And it looks as though number 75 also in there. That's Lindsey Jordan.
Emilia and Jordan, they had a meeting at the ball. That time they were a brick wall there, just giving no running room whatsoever.
Call that one a loss of 2 on the play is Veronica Dawson. Not finding any space. All she found was forest green uniforms up the middle there. 2nd and goal coming up. Interesting formation here, Luke. You think this one might be going to the right?
It's a power eye, although they scored that touchdown going weak side with that.
Let's see. Dawson up the middle. Dawson into the end zone for the 2nd time this evening. Rebecca Dawson this time scoring from 7 yards out. And with 5:13 to go here in the 2nd quarter, Portland pulls ahead 13-3.
But like you said, they're going right. That time it was a power eye where you have your normal eye backs, then bring in an extra fullback to line up on either side of the fullback. And that time it was to the right side. And they just ran a double lead and just paved the way for Dawson to get in the end zone standing up.
67-yard drive for the Shockwave. See if Bear can cap it off with yet another PAT. The last one was a low kick. This one as well, but just enough to get over that bar. And again, the kick is good. It makes it 14-3. We're going to take another quick break. You're watching STSPN.com. Along with Luke Windsor, Todd Elvick at the controls as always. STSPN.com. You're watching WFA football. The Portland Fighting Shockwave showing a lot of fight here in the 2nd quarter. They pull out to their largest lead of the evening, 14-3. Drive. I lost track of the plays, Luke. I think it was about a 10-play drive. It did go 67 yards. And interesting kick. It stays inside momentarily and then finally goes out of bounds. Is a little bit of a dangerous kick, but interesting kick at that.
Yeah, I think they were. It was one of those where if we can get it, great. If not, no big deal. And it was just put Emilia Carr in a tough spot because I think she wants to let it go out of bounds, but she's not entirely sure. So it's one of those situations. You better be right, one way or the other.
And it does in fact go out of bounds and will result in Everett taking over at their own 35-yard line. 5th time today, Everett bringing their offense onto the field. They have earlier punted, kicked a field goal, thrown an interception, and then turned it over on downs. Still looking for the end zone today.
Well, they need to get something going because momentum is clearly on Portland's side. That interception late in the first quarter could prove out to be the real turning point of this game unless Everett can turn this thing around.
Walsh under center. She has Felder off to her left shoulder. Pelham off to the right. Hands it to Felder. Felder cuts it back into the middle after starting out to the right. Leans forward to around the 38-yard line. Will give her a 3-yard gain on the play.
Not a bad little run there by Felder's kind of an off-tackle lead to the right side. Saw really nothing at the point of attack, so she's able to cut it back and found some room to run up the middle. But nice gain on first down for Everett. And with under 5 minutes to go, if Everett can, even if they don't score, if they can just maybe keep the ball for the rest of the quarter, allow their defense to rest and kind of recoup.
And Everett rather does get the ball first to start the second half. Might be something worth noting here eventually. Fake the handoff to Felder. Walsh rolling out, finally tries to dump it into the flat, incomplete at the feet of Felder. Probably the wise move at that point. There's really nothing open there.
And she was under some pressure from like Kelsey Backistow, who was in the backfield in Walsh's face. If Walsh had been able to set her feet, she had Emilia Carr wide open down the field, but just was anyone able to get her the ball.
Felder opened up the game with runs of 14, 6, and 8 yards and hasn't found much running room since. I don't know if it's an adjustment that Portland has made or if they're keying on her a little more, not realizing that she was going to be such a focal point early. And it's certainly not Felder's fault. She hasn't had much room to run.
Yeah, no. I mean, whether it's adjustments or not, it all comes down to line play and whatever line can control things at the point of attack.
3rd and 6, shotgun formation. Walsh takes the snap, fires it over the middle, intending it for Forrest Larson. Larson a little bit low. It was near the shoestrings. Probably would have liked to have had that one over. Would have caught it about a yard short of the 4th down marker, or the 1st down marker rather, but instead the ball falls incomplete and is a 4th and 6.
Well, a little low, but it's the one that she should have caught, and once she caught it, even if she just falls forward, she would have had the 1st down, so that's a big opportunity lost there for Everett.
So Lindsay Felder dropping back into punt formation. Ball is snapped very high. She has to back up to catch it. Retrieves it. The ball is blocked. Bounces at the 29-yard line. And is finally kicked out of bounds as it looked for a moment like Devin Kuntz, number 4 for Portland, was going to have a chance to maybe even pick it up on a bounce with her motion going towards the goal line. It might have been a touchdown. Fortunately for Everett, the ball bounces out of bounds, and nonetheless, though, Portland with the ball at the 32-yard line.
Again, long snapping issues. It's one of those. It's a position that if you're usually having to mention it, something bad's happening. So, but it just messed up the timing of that punt. Portland was able to block it, and then Everett was very fortunate. Kuntz was able to scoop it up because she had no one in front of her that would have been able to stop her from getting in the end zone.
And, Luke, you mentioned earlier that it might almost be somewhat of a victory if they were able to just eat up the clock and get out of here at 14-3. And now it's gone the opposite way. Is that little slant pass thrown over the middle there at the 21-yard line and completed as number 19, Brianna Griggs, starting wide receiver who went to Central Catholic High School. She gets her first completion of the game.
And did a great job of holding on the ball because Brooklyn Holton put a nice hit on her.
We've seen 3 different completions now for Portland to 3 different receivers. As Griggs picks up, we'll give her 11 on the play. Enough for a 1st down. Each Portland completion thus far has gone for double figures in terms of yardage. Bear off the right side gets ahead to the 19-yard line for a gain of 2. Clock continuing to run, 3:33 and counting here in the first half. Portland already up 14-3 and now looking for more.
It's a basic fullback dive there off tackle, and with just under 3.5 minutes to go, but with this field position, still plenty of time for Portland. They don't have to be in any hurry, and it's really important for Everett. If they want to stay in this game, they have to get a stop here.
Villarino out to the left, Griggs to the right. I formation. They're going to give that one right up the middle there. A dive to what was a fullback, Allie Foster, who's generally a wide receiver, a rookie on this team this year from Northwest Christian University, and gets her first action of the night and picks up a couple yards in the process.
And again, Portland's in no hurry. They run their offense, and they obviously like that fullback dive to set up a potential triple option. So they're really starting to get a little bit more and more every time they run that, and as they start to really wear on the Everett defense, those 3-4 yard gains in the first half, and then actually there's a flag down.
Oh, there. Okay, I was I was looking for the reason why the clock had stopped, and I've got an obstructed view right here along the sideline, and that's where the flag was thrown.
Face mask against Everett, so it should be half the distance to the goal and an automatic first down. So Portland will have it first and goal from about the 8.
So this is kind of a self-destruct. I was going to say drive, but really it started with that blocked punt off of a high snap, and Everett certainly not doing themselves any favor right now. 2:54 here in the first half remaining. Portland looking to add to their lead. The handoff goes to Riggleman. Riggleman looking for some room, trying to lunge forward. Might have found a little bit of space as she gets a hit to the 6-yard line, but not much more than that. And once again, Everett stifling on defense, not allowing them to run up the middle very easily.
That was an interesting formation there by Portland. They went double tight, 2 wide receivers, and Riggleman lining up at running back. Normally in that formation, running back's going to be directly up on the quarterback. She was offset and trying to get a little bit more of an angle running to the right.
2nd and goal coming up. Bear playing fullback. Riggleman staying in at the tailback position. Petrie under center. Fakes the handoff, looking, trying to roll out to the left. Eludes Cooper, puts her shoulder down. She's going to run it and find the end zone. Touchdown, Portland. Holly Petrie wanted to throw. Initially was looking over the middle, maybe even a little off to the right. And when Cooper came in at her, she rolled out to her left, saw that she had some open space, and just enough for the end zone.
Yeah, she rolled away from where all her help would have been as far as receivers down the field because they were all to the right. She goes left, and you're just going to play in space, one-on-one, quarterback versus defender, and the quarterback won.
With 2:04 to go here in the first half, Portland, who scored their first touchdown with 4 seconds to go in the first quarter, now with 2 touchdowns here in the second, and we're going to get a little bit of a
the swinging gate
play. We haven't seen that in a while, and
it caught Everett off guard, and they didn't have enough defenders over there, and that's why Portland tried to throw the screen pass to that side as the ball was overthrown.
They certainly had numbers over there as a handful of their offensive linemen went out to the left and just couldn't quite complete it. But I guess if that's the only thing that's gone wrong for you in the last 12 or 13 minutes, it's not such a bad thing. You're still up 20-3 at this point.
And I keep thinking back to that interception. That is clearly been the turning point of this game because the thing about even though it was 3rd and long on that play, Everett still had the momentum. They had the lead. Their defense was playing great. They were at that point pitching a shutout. Interception happens. 3 plays later, Portland scores a touchdown, and it's just been it feels like a snowball effect on Everett ever since.
Yeah, 3 minutes and 9 seconds have elapsed from the last touchdown, and that included a 3-and-out for Everett. But again, the blocked punt certainly setting that play up as it was only a 32-yard drive rather. And Tess Bear once again will set that ball on the tee and ready to kick it off from the 35-yard line. Nora Shankman, Brooklyn Holt, and Emilia Carr all back to receive it. Squib kick, and there's a chance for the recovery, and doing a nice job is Felder to keep that from being a Portland ball once again. That was not a bad kick from Barrett.
No, I think that time they were trying for an onside kick. It almost feels like Portland's kind of going for the jugular, trying to put this game away now.
A little bit of a pooch kick almost. It wasn't as though they were trying to get it to bounce 10 yards. They wanted to kick it over the first line of defense.
Well, remember that when Alabama beat Clemson in the national championship game, the turning point that was that little surprise onside. It's sort of the same type of kick.
Mm-hmm, exactly.
You see something in either during the game or on film where you think you can get that, so you practice it, and eventually coach will have to make a decision when to call it.
Well, that could have been disastrous for Everett, Everett right there if they had given Portland the ball in Everett territory again with more than 2 minutes to work with. The clock showing 2:01 as Michele Walsh will once again bring her offense onto the field, this time from her own 45-yard line. Trips out to the right. You got one receiver out to the left, and the ball is snapped over Walsh's head. It's dribbling around back inside the 20-yard line. Walsh finally just falls on it at the 17. It's going to be a loss of 28 yards on the play.
Again, Can't put that on Walsh. I mean, the snap's over her head. There's nothing she can do. They really just fall on it there. And right now, this whole second quarter, Everett just cannot get out of their own way.
Billy Russo just not sure what to do right now, and he's going to call a quick timeout. We'll take a break as well. You're watching STSPN.com. Timeout, back out on the field. 2nd and 36 coming up. So they will spot the ball at the 19-yard line. Michele Walsh this time under center, I formation. Pitches the ball to Felder. We get a reverse coming up here as Shankman takes it, going from left to right, staying at home and doing a nice job of stopping the play as Aaron Miller. Shankman's going to be thrown down at the 5-yard line. They'll give her forward motion to the 7. But right now, the Everett Rain are just going the wrong direction, losing 28 on one play, and now we're going to get a loss of, looks like a loss of 13 as they spot the ball right around the 6-yard line.
And Portland, they're going to burn their last time out. They want to try to get the ball back with some time left on the clock. And yes, credit the Portland defenders. They stayed out, so they kept outside contained, but there was a big hole. If Shankman would have been cut up inside of those blocks, she might have had some room to run. But as it is now, it's 3rd in the Mukilteo Ferry.
Yeah, they're going to actually spot it at the 7-yard line. 3rd and 48 coming up. Scoreboard's a little more generous than I am. It's showing a 46, unless they just don't have the bulb set up. Oh, the scoreboard keeper is right here next to us, and the bulbs are in fact burned out, so it is a 48. Showed 50 there for a moment. I wasn't sure the 5 worked on that one, so we now know that it works if ever needed, and we'd like to think that it's not, because you don't see those 50-yard to-go plays very often, so we'll see what.
There's not a lot of plays in any team's playbook for 3rd and 48.
We'll see if the Rain have one right here. It's Billy Russo, after talking with his offensive unit, now walks off the field.
You could try the Boise State circus play, which is essentially a long down the field hook and ladder.
Well, and at this point, I mean, are you almost looking to throw a play in which you just keep the clock running? Or
yeah, they used their last timeout, so I would just run the ball and eat as much clock as you can.
Realistically, you're not going to pick up 48 yards on one play. However, Walsh drops back to pass, throws it out into the flat. Ball is completed, but right there to make the tackle is number 37, Jessica Gertis, as Felder was the receiver. Just gets back to the line of scrimmage, but I guess it's as good as a dive or any kind of other run. It's keeping the clock going in here with 1:10 and counting.
Just think of it as a long handoff.
Yeah, exactly.
But the clock runs, and I think Everett they have at least one timeout left. I would take it down, and then call timeout right before the play clock goes off.
A little bit of confusion here as Emilia Carr finally comes back onto the field. Lindsay Felder looking over at the sideline as if she needs instructions.
No, they're not even going to step. They're going to take a delay game penalty here,
which is only half the distance. So
yeah.
Why not at this point? And finally, the flag is thrown with 38 seconds to go, and should put the ball back right around the 3.5-yard line or so.
Although with the long snapping issues that they've had, and I was raised by a football coach, and one of his specialties was long snapping. And one thing that I did pick up from my dad, even though I wasn't a long snapper myself, is if the nose of the football is pointed up, the ball is going to pop up. And just from what I can see, the nose of the football was up.
And there we go, another high one. This time Felder looking to go outside, throws the ball and completes it to a lineman. I haven't seen or heard a whistle yet. That should be a illegal pass, as it was in fact caught, as number 73 Janelle Aaliyah says, look what I found, as the ball ends up right in her hands, and there finally we get a flag.
Ineligible receiver, and because I think the ball might have been caught in the end zone, that could be a safety.
Let's see what the call is here.
Because the penalty's in the end zone, I think that's going to be 2 points for Portland.
Janelle Aaliyah, not used to catching passes, used to She's more accustomed to blocking the other team there, and this time the ball ends up right in her hands, and the referee's still having a conference here.
If your jersey number is in the 70s, you don't catch passes.
Clock showing 30 seconds to go in the half. Illegal touch called.
They're not going to call it a safety. They're going to give that should be a safety because the penalty took place in the end zone.
She was awfully close, though. I think you're right.
Well, you can say the penalty took place in the end zone. The throw was from the end zone too. But
is it from where the throw is, though, or where the ball is touched?
In intentional grounding, it's from the throw. On illegal touching, and maybe where the ball was caught, and it looks like she caught it. I think she was right on the goal line. So it's a
point out, though,
call.
An illegal touch is different from an intentional grounding.
True.
Too. They could technically say it wasn't necessarily an intentional grounding. You could dispute whether or not there would have been anybody in the vicinity, but if that is in fact the case, then the penalty is
from my vantage point, she at least had 1 foot in the end zone when she caught the ball. So then it becomes from the referee's judgment, did she catch it with the ball still breaking the plane of the goal line or not? And
this might be one of those rare situations too, where the call goes in favor of one team, but really the team doesn't want that call.
If I'm Everett, I'd rather give them the safety and kick it deep
with 30 seconds to go in the half.
30 seconds left to go in the half.
That's exactly what I think they would have preferred. So certainly Coach Russo would have liked to have had a safety, and instead Portland's going to get the ball on about the 12-inch line.
Now, the one thing to keep in mind, Portland has no timeouts left, so if they run it and they don't get in, they have to line up in a hurry.
Petrie with 3 backs behind her. Dawson is the tailback. Dawson, in fact, takes the handoff, waiting for a signal, and for the 3rd time today, Rebecca Dawson is into the end zone. Touchdown, Shockwave. Makes it a 26-3 game with 24 seconds to go here in the first half.
And that could be a real backbreaker for Everett. I mean, you can just tell looking at the sidelines, the mood is soured since the first quarter, and giving up now 26 unanswered points, possibly now 28 because Portland's going in the swing gate again.
Tess Bear, the only player lined up behind the quarterback, Petrie. Takes the snap, fakes the handoff to Bear, looking over the middle, dumps it off. Ball is incomplete as it hits the turf, intended for number 37, Jessica Gertis. Give Forrest Larson a nice atta-girl play there as number 37 on the rain comes over to knock the ball out of 37 on the Shockwave's hands. And we do have a 26-3 game here now with 24 seconds left in the half.
Yeah, there's just really unfortunate sequence of events there for Everett. I really thought that there should have been a safety, and in hindsight, that's what they would have preferred. But it went against them there. That decision went against them there, and Portland gambled a little bit by running it with no timeouts left, but they were able to get in for the touchdown.
Nonetheless, your last 2 touchdowns set up by bad long snaps.
Yeah,
and more than one too. It's not only was the 2 punts, but also
the shotgun snap.
The shotgun snap over the head of.
And again, it's the nose of the ball. If it's pointed up, then the ball's going to come back up, and that's something that the Everett long snapper needs to work on.
So Tess Bear taking her usual spot at the 30-yard line as she's becoming more than just a little accustomed to kicking off to the rain here in the last 15 minutes. Another squib kick. This time it's fielded by Felder. She gets a little bit ahead. Wind up ahead. She gets to the 37-yard line of Portland. Felder taking that one on the bounce with a nice head of steam going downfield and almost broke that one wide open.
She did, although a couple of the frontline players for Everett, they weren't it's almost seemed like they weren't expecting it, and since I've seen them about the last 3 or 4 kickoffs, expect it.
Well, especially with 24 seconds to go,
yeah.
You figure that they're more than likely not going to boot it all the way down the field and give your returner a chance.
And Everett is missing a player.
Everett bringing their offense onto the field for the 7th time today. So far, only 3 points to show for it.
And they've generally had good field position to start almost every drive.
Good news, bad news. The good news is you have great field position here. Bad news, you don't have much time to work with it. 20 seconds left on the clock, and you're 38 yards away from pay dirt. We'll see what they draw up here as Pelham is in at the fullback position. Felder, who's lined up about 10 yards behind the quarterback, and they finally fake the sweep and give it to Pelham up the middle, and she gets ahead to the 33.
That was a fullback counter where they fake the toss one way, then run a counter to the fullback going the other way. That's a normally you don't see the counter plays run to the fullback, but hey, it worked.
Took up 7 seconds, so we've got 13 to go. Billy Russo using up yet another timeout. We'll see if Michele Walsh maybe wants to step back, drop back about 5 steps, and just fire it towards the end zone here with 13 seconds to go.
Just don't throw it to Aaron Miller's side.
Curious as to what's going on here as Everett came out of the huddle. They ran up to the line of scrimmage and looked ahead, and they saw 11 white jerseys and 1 red jacket, which belongs to, I believe that's Tim Price that's actually out there, the head coach. It's either him or T.P. Brown, the defensive coordinator. Either way, it is in fact Brown that's out there. Not a player eligible, I might add. So Brown's going to make his way off, and once again we will have Everett come out of their huddle and back up to the line of scrimmage here to see what they can come up with 13 seconds to go on the clock.
Probably just reminding his defense to be watchful for any deep pass or any trick play.
Walsh only thrown 1 touchdown pass so far this year. This would be a good time for number 2. Throws it across the middle, incomplete. Overthrew Cooper, underthrew Carr. I'm not sure which one she was hoping to go for there.
I think Cooper, but Cooper got bumped at the line of scrimmage and they just messed up the timing.
Only took 3 seconds off the clock, so we're looking at 10 to go. As a coach, what are you thinking here? You could almost throw an out pattern of some sort, maybe pick up 8 or 10 yards and give yourself a better shot at the end zone.
I played and coached under a man who loved the hook and ladder, in Coach Mack, Dan Mack, the head coach at K-Mac High School. So if you have a play like that, maybe you run that, especially if you can score on it. It's be a big momentum swing. The out route is very tempting as well.
Isolated player over here on the right. They're going to go to the left, however, firing it down the field for Shankman. The ball is picked off by Shepard. She gets tackled at around the 7-yard line, and it had initially 1 second. It ticks off to quadruple zeros up on the board, and we've come to the end of the first half. And it is a first half that, after a somewhat sluggish start by Portland, has been dominated by the Fighting Shockwave as they score 26 points over the last 15 minutes and 4 seconds of the half. They head to the locker room ahead of the Everett Rain 26-3. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, get you caught up on some of the first half action and get you ready for the third quarter of play. You are watching STSPN.com. back to the Sound Alive Sports Network. Steve Willits, along with STSPN.com. Too many games here this week. Welcome back to STSPN.com. Our sister station is the Sound Alive Sports Network. Shout out to them, too, for doing a fine job. And you can find both of them on the same website, so I wasn't too far off. But welcome back to STSPN.com. Steve Willits, along with Luke Windsor, Todd Elvick, up here in the booth. We're also joined by Larry Lisk, who's right down a couple seats down from us, who's one of the assistant coaches for the Everett Rain, as well as the head photographer. He's running the scoreboard. He's bringing Todd Elvick water during the breaks, and who knows?
Swiss Army knife.
He might be driving the bus afterwards too. So, and Larry just had a birthday on Thursday, so happy birthday, Larry Lisk, and also feeding me a lot of information on our way down the stairs here during the break, as well as in the booth here, pointing out some of the birthdays going on. Nora Shankman, we mentioned her earlier. It's her 24th birthday today. Yesterday was number 72, Stephanie Ripley's birthday. Tomorrow, number 80, Britt Flinkinger. And then on Monday, number 69, that would be Leanne Lehman. So plenty of birthdays, but not a whole lot to celebrate here for Everett in the first half. It was early on. They had a field goal and took the 3-0 lead. And since then, Portland has responded with 4 touchdowns, resulting in 26 unanswered points, resulting in a 26-3 halftime lead. As you've been watching some of the first half highlights or lowlights, depending on which team you're rooting for. And Luke Windsor, we mentioned it earlier. I know you've talked about it both on air and then also off the air. Really, the turning point in this game seems to be when Aaron Miller picked off that pass and returned it to the 9-yard line, which set up Portland's first score.
Yeah, Everett played a good first 12 minutes. And then that interception happened, and ever since then it's almost seemed like just trying to pushing that snowball down the hill and watching it bigger and bigger and harder to stop. But as up to that point, Everett had the lead, and their defense had been playing really well. They'd forced 2 turnovers, and Portland really hadn't shown to that point that they could move the ball with any consistency without turning the ball over on Everett. And then the interception happened, 3 plays later, touchdown. Portland's got the lead, and they haven't looked back. So
we will see if Everett can try to regain some of that early first quarter momentum here, as they will have the ball first to start the second half. They'll have the ball first as well, as long as they can retrieve this kickoff, as Tess Bear has been putting it in spots where they haven't been able to grab it quite as easy. And this time she kicks it down the field. The quarterback, Michele Walsh, fields it at the 30, zigzags to the 45, tries to cut out to the right and gets ahead to the 49-yard line. So the quarterback giving her team nice field position to start the half anyway. Hey, if she's going to come out and play QB and have to get under center, she might as well help her own cause there, and that's exactly what she did.
The last time I ever saw a quarterback return kicks, it was a high school game, and it was Jake Locker.
Okay, well, that worked out pretty well.
Yeah. He was a decent athlete when he was healthy.
Locker, of course, who went to high school right up the road here at Ferndale, was a Golden Eagle, then went on to the University of Washington, and first-round draft choice by the Tennessee Titans.
Now, who pulls that out of their hand?
As Walsh now will take it at the 48-yard line. They spot her back about an extra yard. I formation once again. Pelham lined up right behind her, as well as Felder. Felder takes the carry, looking for space out to the left, not finding much there. A few different players in on the tackle, one of which was big number 99, Tara Krugel, and she also had some help from Simone Shepard, number 3.
Good initial hold at the point of attack, but what messed up that play is no one on the backside was able to get up to the second level to one of the linebackers, and it was a linebacker who read that, shot through the gap, and made the play.
And Luke, you mentioned it also during the break that if you're Everett and you're having this much trouble with your long snapping, perhaps it's time just to put Walsh under center and do that the rest of the game. And for the second consecutive play, that's exactly what we're seeing here.
And even in formations where normally she'd be in shotgun, put her under center. Just take that.
See if they continue to do that as she rolls out to the right, looking downfield, throws a wobbly pass to Shankman, incomplete. And it looks as though number 95, Nicole Villarino, who also plays wide receiver for the Fighting Shockwave, she was able to get a hand on that ball and knock it down, brings up a 3rd and 9.
And she really kind of was on the edge there, whether or not she got there early or not. No flag, so we're going to say she got there on time. You timed it just right, but it looked close.
A little bit of a wobbly pass from Walsh at that, too, which probably made the decision for the referees a little bit easier as well.
Yeah.
Perhaps if that ball had been on point a little more, it might have given them a
Well, the receiver
chance
had
to determine whether or not, in fact, she was early.
the receiver had to come back for it too, and had to stop. So
we're looking at our first third and long of the second half. Territory that Everett didn't do very well in the first half. Let's see if they can do something here. Walsh throwing the ball down the right side to Carr, incomplete. And she's lucky that one wasn't intercepted as Erin Miller had her mitts all over it. Falls harmlessly to the turf, however, and that brings up a 4th and 9. And we've got to think that also brings up a punting situation. However, I was about to say one thing, and now I will stop, as Felder was about to run off the field. And anytime your punter comes running off, that's usually a sign that you might. But then she was told immediately, hey, get back on there, and she gets back into punt formation here at the 40.
especially with the quarterback Walsh off the field, that doesn't indicate a
Drops back to the 38, takes the snap. A little bit high again, this time a little bit cleaner. Barely gets that one off, was almost blocked. Bounces at the 35 and rolls forward all the way down to the 27-yard line. 24-yard kick with no return, and that will put Portland in business for the first time here in the second half. They'll take over at their own 27-yard line.
And again, with Portland, they've been really able to run, from the midway through the second quarter on, they've been able to run pretty much their whole offense and do whatever they want. So they've been a lot of fullback dives, setting up a potential triple option, and then they've been able to starting to have some more success throwing the ball as well. So I would expect them to, but still come out, keep the ball on the ground, try to control this game. But in the shotgun formation right away, they maybe come out gunning it.
Holly Petrie once again behind center. She sat out 2 different drives in the second quarter. Ever since coming back in, though, she's been pretty much spot on, having a chance to drive her team down to a couple of different scores, as we're going to get a quick timeout here with 13:39 to go. In the third quarter, we'll take another 30-second break. You're watching STSPN.com. The Portland Fighting Shockwave ready to go on offense, 13:39 to go, third quarter. Steve Willits along with Luke Windsor from Goddard Stadium in Everett, Washington. And a lot of motion, a lot of jumping around, and quite a few flags and whistles to go along with it, as we're going to get our first penalty here of the second half.
Offsides against Everett. Looked like Alyssa Allen coming from an outside linebacker spot on a blitz. Tried to time the snap count and timed it wrong.
Moves the ball down the field 5 more yards, exactly what Everett did not need. Holly Petrie staying in shotgun formation. Tess Bear, the big fullback, lined up in the slot on the left. They're looking at her. Janelle Aaliyah getting to the quarterback, and down
Ball's
goes
loose.
Petrie. The ball is, in fact, loose. However, they're going to whistle it dead at the 24-yard line. And, Luke, it looked as though there was a lot of movement going on before the ball was snapped on that play as well.
I'm surprised the penalty wasn't called, because it seemed like both guards and tackles dropped into their pass block, but then about a half second later, then the ball got snapped. Often that's a false start on the offense, but the refs let it play on, and Janelle Aaliyah was the beneficiary with the big sack.
Todd Elvik pointing out that was a good timeout then, if that in fact worked to their benefit. So brings up a 2nd and 13 here with under 13 minutes to go in the third quarter anyway. Petrie once again staying in shotgun formation. Looks as though Danny Riggleman is lined up just off of her left shoulder. Then Riggleman moves over to the right. And we get movement again. I think this time they're going to get Simone Shepard, number 3, who was moving out on the left side here. She was part of that triangle of receivers that were lined up near the sideline and just took off a little bit too early.
Yeah, she was one of the in the bunch set that was way separated from the formation, and she started moving backwards right as the ball was being snapped, and you can't do that.
All 3 guys were a yard off sides also.
Larry Lisk pointed out that they were all also lined up a yard off sides as well.
And this is kind of curious. I guess because Portland's coming out almost an entirely different offense than they had in the first half. Maybe they're just trying to run some of this stuff now with a comfortable lead in the third quarter to work on some stuff for later on in the season, but so far it's not working.
We'll see. If nothing else, it's eaten up a good minute of the clock, so perhaps they're happy about that. Going to hand off to Riggleman. She tries to sweep it out to the left, picks up a nice block by one of her receivers. Isn't able to get much further, though, as Michele Walsh slows her up, and then Sarah Cooper finishes off the play and pushes her out of bounds after picking up perhaps a yard. A long way to run, though, for 1 yard of offense.
Really good pursuit by really the whole defensive unit by Everett, led by Cooper at defensive end. She didn't get too far upfield. She didn't dive inside, and she just kept strung it out to the sideline, strung it out, letting the help get there. And, again, anytime a running back is running east-west, you're fine with that because as long as they're not going to gain much yards if they're running towards the sideline.
3rd and 17. Clock continues to tick away. 11:57 to go, third quarter. Petrie under center this time. 2 receivers out to her left, which is the short side of the field. She goes out to the right. Alyssa Allen pursuing her, pressuring her. She finally fires the ball down the field, incomplete as Valerio was in the vicinity of where the ball landed. Just threw it about 2 yards short, however, and that's going to bring up a 4th and 17, and undoubtedly that means Portland will be punting for the first time here in the second half.
And good pressure by Allen. I think that forced the QB to not really be able to set her feet long enough to make a good, accurate throw. And because Villarino was open, but again, if a quarterback can't get their feet set, unless they got an arm like Aaron Rodgers, it's going to be very difficult to throw any pass with any sort of accuracy down the field.
Simone Shepard once again dropping back into punt formation, standing at her own 7-yard line. Much better snap for her than what the Reign kicker has been getting as Shankman tries to field it at the 49, bounces off of her chest into the hands of the Shockwave, and they're going to get the ball at the 47-yard line of Everett. What a bad break for the Reign.
Just those wobbly punts can be something, and it bounced off her shoulder pads, and she wasn't able to really get her hands on it. And then the Portland player was just right there at the right spot at the right time.
Didn't see which of the Shockwave came up with it, but whichever it was, the ball took a pretty hard bounce off the turf, and when you're running down the field, not always easy to corral it as quickly as you'd like to, and basically took it on one hop, and Portland keeping their drive alive, if you will, at the 48-yard line of Everett, looking to increase their 26-3 lead. Rebecca Dawson back in the game, sweeps out to the right, gets by the first line of defense, and finally is brought down at the 41-yard line after picking up a gain of 7.
Again, outside zone, and once again, the defensive end on that side, I believe it was Shania Holland, she dives inside and really just gives up the edge and allows for the running back to get up the field. So when playing against an outside zone, it's really important for the defensive ends to not dive inside.
2nd and 3, I formation. Dawson remains in the game. Bear, the fullback, fake the handoff to Bear, throw it over the middle. Shepard with the catch at the 31, lunges to the 30, picks up a gain of 11 on the play, and will move the chains one more time. And Portland showing a little bit of a new wrinkle in their offense, one that we didn't see in the first half.
Well, you keep running those fullback dives, you keep running it. You eventually get the linebackers to kind of creep up expecting it. Then you fake it, get the tight end in behind for a little pop pass, and it worked just fine right there.
Simone Shepard with her second catch of the game. 2 catches, 21 yards. We go trips out to the left. Number 85, Villarino out to the wide side. Bear and Shepard in the slots. Pressure coming from the Reign. Getting away from the tacklers is Petrie. She gets knocked to the ground, and also getting knocked to the ground is Shepard as she went to make the catch, and 2 penalty flags falling right in the vicinity there. What'd you see, Luke?
Pass interference on Brooklyn Holton, and this is a good call by both officials because Holton had her hands on the receiver's back the whole way, and then as the ball got there, she started pushing her, and that's a pretty easy call.
And give Petrie a lot of credit. She was pressured from the get-go on that play, had to elude a couple of different would-be sackers. Finally got the ball downfield. Doesn't get credit for a completion in the stat column, but certainly she kept that play alive with her feet and picks up yardage and a first down
and
in the process.
Forever, there's nothing more frustrating. You get pressure. You have 2 or 3 players. You have a real chance at getting a sack. They all miss, and then And then you get enough pressure where you think you got an incomplete pass, but no, there's a penalty for pass interference.
Holly Petrie, the Oregon State University alum, back under center. Movement along the defensive front there. Whistles blow.
I think this will go against Everett.
You are absolutely correct, and that will put the ball back into the red zone as 5 more yards marched off, and Portland now looking at the Everett 19-yard line as the line of scrimmage. Aaron Miller lined up in the backfield, as is Tess Bear. They're going to hand off to Miller. Bear, the lead blocker, cuts it out to the right side, looking for the sideline and not looking much longer because Nikki Pelham was there to wrap her up and throw her to the ground.
A nice job by Shania Helen at the defense end spot. She takes on the fullback, knocks the fullback back in the backfield, forcing Miller to bounce it out deeper and have to go out wider and allowing the pursuit to get there.
And we're going to get a whistle here on the play as Casey Cornish appears to be down near the line of scrimmage. And then we saw for a brief moment, looked as though Janelle Aaliyah was almost injured, and she might in fact be. She's down on one knee right now.
Well, all the players usually go down on one knee.
Oh, there we go. She went down to a knee and then
she was
rolled around for a
around
moment,
like a soccer player trying to sell an injury. That annoys me. when you see soccer players,
does it every once in a while, don't
they over-embellish.
We did have an injury before the game as well we might want to point out here. As Sina Thatch, the starting corner for Everett, was injured during warm-ups, had an ankle injury, and she's not playing tonight. So Brooklyn Holton has had to move over from her linebacker position over to corner to take her place. So already playing down a little bit tonight out of the rain, and hoping that whoever's down on the turf right now, if that is in fact Cornish, is able to get up and continue playing.
I think they're looking at a knee or an ankle.
Do see a little movement out there, which is always a good thing, as they've continued to treat her. And we're going to take a quick break during this process. We'll be back in a moment. You're watching STSPN.com. Okay, we wish her nothing but the best. Back to action here. 2nd and 5 coming up from the 19-yard line of Everett. Portland with the ball, faking the handoff as Petrie throws it over the middle, completes it to Shepard. Shepard ahead inside the 10-yard line, tackled at the 9 after I guess we'll call it a 10-yard gain on the play. And once again, Portland on the move, 26-3 lead and looking for more.
Nice job there by Portland. Play action pass, get the linebackers to come up to defend the run and slip in. Looked like Shepard was lined up as a tight end there, dragging her behind the linebackers. They lost track of her, and good, easy completion.
Sun begins to set, and you can see the shadows on the field right now here at Frank Goddard Stadium at Mariner High School in Everett, Washington. Petrie walking up to the line, getting under center. Griggs lined up out to the left, Shepard to the right. Fakes the handoff, throws into the end zone. She's got Shepard. She's got the touchdown. Shepard with her third catch of the drive. This one going for 9 yards. And this one also gives Portland the 32-3 lead with 8:52 to go in the third quarter.
And Shepard just running an out route one-on-one with the corner over there and just was able to get enough separation and present a nice, easy target there for the quarterback. And after they Portland line up in the power I again, and again, play action. And the play action, all those runs in the first half have really been setting up the passing game on this drive with some of the play action that they've had.
Bear gets this kick blocked. It is, in fact, a live ball if it can be returned. It is not, however, and something goes right for Everett anyway. There is scoreboard will remain 32-3. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll see if Everett can respond. You're watching this STSPN.com. And once again, we are at Goddard Stadium here in Everett. Steve Willits, Luke Windsor, Todd Elvick. And also joining us here, the Portland Fighting Shockwave, and they're joining us in a big way. 32 unaided. Prepares to kick off again. This one right up the middle. And fielding it is Brooklyn Holton. Holton at the 27-yard line. Starts to go up the middle and cuts it out to the right. Might have gotten her face mask there, and in fact she did as she gets tackled at the 45-yard line.
Might have gotten it.
18-yard gain on the play, and we're going to tack on a few more yards to that as well. And, yeah, no might have about it. That was, in fact, a swing down by the face, and she might even be willing to take one for the team there as that's going to put the ball at the 40-yard line now.
Even back in the old days when there was the 5- and 15-yard variety, that would have been a 15-yard variety.
They're going to march that one off right now. And once again, Everett able to set themselves up in good field position. Haven't been able to do much with it thus far, but
at this point, with the score the way it is for Everett, it's really just about building up some confidence. Can they put together some drives, get some first downs, and hopefully put one or two of them in the end zone for some points?
See what they can do here right now. Walsh still playing quarterback under center. I mentioned the upcoming birthday tomorrow for number 80, Fleckinger. She's now in the game plan at receiver. Dive goes up the middle. Give a 2-yard gain now to the carrier, which in this particular case is number 12, Lindsey Felder.
Who's been sort of the go-to running back today for Everett, and started off great, but then just the running lanes have been kind of closed off by Portland. Once they kind of got an idea that the game plan for Everett was to go to her a lot, I think they've been keying in on her quite a bit tonight.
It's going to bring up a 2nd and 8. Shankman lined up out to the left. Looks as though they're going to keep flecking her out to the right. Starting to see some different personnel in there. We also have number 40 playing now also, which is Stephanie Howard. Pelham gets the carry. Not much room to run. She gets ahead to the 37-yard line. Might have picked up a yard on the play.
And again, quite often I'm seeing the holes at the point of attack are good, but it's the backside defenders who aren't getting blocked who are coming in and making the play. So then it's just a matter of linemen away from the play, getting up the field, getting to the second level, and taking care of those linebackers who are coming in unblocked.
With 7:19 to go here in the third quarter, you always want to have the mindset, whether you're a coach, a fan, a player, that you've got a chance to win a game.
Yeah, you're still competing, but you're also being realistic. You're thinking, let's get some confidence and get better for the next week.
Walsh firing the ball down the field and deep, looking for Shankman, incomplete as Shepard was over there to knock the ball away. And the point that I was going to make, too, is that you're down by 29. You've got less than a quarter and a half to go. This is an Everett team that I would love to, just at the very least right now, see them gain some momentum because you've got a big game coming up with Tacoma next week.
Yeah.
And by the way, folks need to get out to that game. 6 o'clock start right here at Goddard Stadium. We watched that game last month. It was a 6-0 game, a game that I thought Everett actually outplayed Tacoma in. And certainly, if you're Everett, you know that Tacoma, their defense is hard to get a lot of yardage and points on. They had trouble the last time these two teams played. You'd like to start getting something going and maybe carry it over into next week. If nothing else, maybe you end up losing today, but at least you've got something to show for it. And
yeah, that's really probably what the whole coaching staff is thinking. Get better for next week.
Walsh rolling out to the right, trying to keep the play alive, finally tucks it away, runs downfield. Very wisely gets past the 30-yard line, just beyond the first down marker, and lo and behold, on 4th and 7, she picks up a first down.
And that's something I'd like to see more of her because she is a good athlete. And it sure looked to me that as she was running, before she made the decision to run, it's almost like she looked way back across the field to see where exactly the sticks were so she knew how far she had to go before getting out of bounds.
4-play, 11-yard drive thus far. They're on the 29-yard line. Now the sun completely down as we've got nothing but shadows here on the field. Clear night out. You can even see the full moon directly to our left, off to the east. Everett heading towards the west, hoping to head even 29 yards further than where they are right now. Pelham getting tackled by one player and then two as number 37, Jessica Gertis, just got enough of a hand on her jersey, almost ripped part of it away, and it looks like that, in fact, might be the case as Pelham having to pick something up off the ground as Gertis slowed her down just enough for Simone Shepard to come in and finish her off. But nonetheless, it looked like a play that was developing nicely for a moment for Everett, and then all of a sudden that hand came out and the claw from nowhere stopping the play.
Well, that was simply a case of Gertis defeating her blocker, knocking her into the backfield. Then once she saw Pelham get close, just reached out with a hand, grabbed some cloth, and just didn't let go.
Looked like those old 1970s and 80s breakaway jerseys almost there for a moment. Not sure what
Pelham could have used one of those there.
Two receivers to the left, two to the right. High snap. Handoff goes to Pelham. A dive up the middle. Nothing doing as Devin Kuntz getting in on the tackle. And then look at this. Finally getting a little bit of push here as they're finally going to blow the whistle. And you can see Gertis, who last time had an arm or a hand tackle. This time she wraps her arms around the feet of Pelham and just tries to slow her down enough to where she's not able to get much further, but Pelham doing a nice job to try to fight through it.
Pelham was thinking, hey, my knees are on the ground. I can still go. But it was Kuntz and company just converging in on the backfield on Pelham, giving her really no room to run at all.
So we've got a 3rd and long coming up. 3rd and 14 is what the scoreboard's showing here. 4:48 to go, third quarter. Everett looking for their first touchdown of the game and first point since the early stages of the first quarter when they put themselves ahead with a 24-yard Lindsay Felder field goal. Felder, who is now playing in the backfield off to the right of the quarterback Walsh, Pelham to the left. Walsh looking downfield, going out to the right, dumps it off to Felder. Felder catches it at the 36 and doesn't have anywhere to go with it. She's going to lose 3 yards on the play. Aaron Miller in on the tackle, as well as a few others. It looked like number 44, Chris Landers, might have even been in on the play.
And that's really all Walsh could have done because she had very little time. She got flushed out of the pocket. No one was open downfield. Just dumped it off to Felder. It was a loss, but it would have been an even bigger loss if Walsh held on to the ball.
And now you're looking at one of those nothing to lose moments.
Why not?
You're down by 29. It's 4th and 17. You're kind of in that no man's land territory. It's your ball at the other team's 36-yard line.
Why not?
See what they've got here is Michele Walsh will bring her offense up to the line. Holton and Shankman splitting out to the left. Forrest Larson, who we haven't seen play much receiver yet tonight, she's in the slot on the right. And outside of her is number 80, flicking her, I should say. Walsh looking down the field, fires it over the middle. The ball is tipped around. Almost fell into Shankman's hand as initially Jessica Gertis, the defensive player, number 37, had her hands on it. Doesn't get the INT that she would have maybe liked to have had in the stat column. However, it works out to her team's benefit in that she's going to get the ball back at the line of scrimmage. Turnover on downs. Portland will bring their offense onto the field and in relatively good field position.
Yeah, that ball looked like it came out of Walsh's hands funny. Like she never really had a good grip on it, and just very fortunate that it wasn't picked off. But, again, as a defensive player, it's tough to ask them sometimes on 4th down if the ball's thrown down the field, don't intercept it because they're wanting to pad their stats, even though it might not help the team's field position.
Hey, if I'm playing defense and my team's up by 29 with 3 minutes to go in the third quarter, have I got a chance for an INT?
I'm taking it.
I'm pulling it down. Why not? Hey, Veronica Ferguson back into the game at quarterback as perhaps Holly Petrie's night is over. She's done what she's needed to give her team a nice lead. Giving the backup QB out of Lewis and Clark Community College a little work now.
So they tried an end around with a wing back there, and Everett snuffed it out nicely. It looked like Forrest Larson got in the backfield from a linebacker spot.
Nothing like seeing that number 21 play quarterback. You don't see those numbers in the that start with the number 2 very often.
Doug Flutie wore 22.
He was 22 in college. Yep. John Hadel for the San Diego Chargers for many years back in the 60s and 70s.
The NFL, wow.
The NFL, AFL days, yeah. When he was throwing to Lance Allworth, he was 21, but always still throws me off a little bit when I see a quarterback at any level come out here with a number that's below 20 or not below 20 as handoff goes to Bear. She falls forward for a yard and keeps the clock rolling.
And if you're familiar with the book and movie Friday Night Lights, Mike Winchell, the quarterback from that Odessa Permian, wore number 20.
Oh, there we go. Okay. Forgotten about that.
I'm a vat of useless information.
Quarterbacks in their 20s for 200, Alex. The one in front of us here, Ferguson, bringing her team back up to the line. 2:04 to go here. She's looking at a 3rd and 11 right now. Bear in that fullback position as Danny Riggleman is checked back in at tailback. Hard count. Pitch it to Riggleman. She looks for room out to the right. She's got some speed. Uses those wheels to get ahead. Falls forward down near the marker. She's, in fact, going to come up about a yard short and give a lot of credit to number 12, Lindsay Felder, who chased her down from behind and threw her to the ground rather harshly, I might add.
And again, it was a situation where too many Everett defenders were getting hook blocked, but basically whether it was the effort by the blockers to get outside of them or them jumping inside, but they gave up the edge. And one thing I played outside linebacker in high school, and as a perimeter defender, you always want to keep your outside arm and leg free. That way it makes it much harder for any running back to get around outside of you.
Gain of 10 on the play. 3rd and 11 goes to 4th and 1. And now we're going to go to 4th and 6 as the right tackle jumps a little bit early.
And she knows that she put her hands to her head. There's going to be no disputing that call.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's the time that we pick now to call out Kelsey Scruglin's name, but certainly she and her teammates have had a nice night up front, winning the battle in the trenches and helping them get to the 32-3 lead. However, when you're a lineman, you're often going to get called out by the play-by-play announcers when the only time we really get to see you in action is when you're playing when the other teammates the other team is not, because you're the only one moving and moves the team back 5 yards.
It's not fair to the linemen who do all the dirty work and who they're the ones that make the offense go. That 75% of the time when they're mentioned, it's because they did something wrong.
So now it's a 4th and 6. We'll see if they can get it back. Perhaps Scrudlin can even make up for it by throwing a nice block. Ferguson throws it out into the flat. Nobody there except for Shankman. If that ball's thrown just a bit higher, Knorr might be running down the sideline for 6 points. Instead, Everett Rain will take over on loss of downs and taking over in pretty good field position here, too, with 26 seconds to go in the third quarter.
I almost wonder if Ferguson was just trying to throw that ball away, because even if she completes the pass in the flat, there's about 3 Everett defenders right there to make a tackle short of the yard to gain for the first down.
So Everett, who turned it over at their own or at the Portland 37-yard line on downs. They really only end up losing 3 yards in all of that, so they're now going to bring their offense back onto the field at the 40-yard line. The only other thing they really lost was time, as Walsh and her offense are huddling at the 50, huddling at the middle, and then they finally all realize they've got to shift on over to the hash mark on the left there and finally do so.
That's on the center.
Emilia Carr wearing those yellow shoes. She's hard to not spot from up here. Handoff goes to Larson, Forrest Larson, who gets her first carry, and she's going to also get thrown back behind the line of scrimmage. Different ball carrier, relatively same results, unfortunately, for the Rain.
It was a situation where blockers come up, they make the initial hit, and then they almost kind of slide off the defender. And when you're blocking, especially in the run, once you get your hands on the defender, you got to keep your feet moving and drive them. You can't just allow them to slide off like that.
And clock has been showing quadruple zeros for about 10 seconds, and I think the referees finally recognized that as everybody came up to the line. We've come to the end of the third quarter. It is all Portland tonight. They lead 32-3. We'll take a quick break and get you back to the fourth quarter of action. You're watching STSPN.com.
Hugs all around. Come here, let's have a TV hug. Get right in here. Get close to your TV. Oh, yeah, there you go. Feels great. Okay. All right, so we are psyched because next week, starting Monday, we reveal the winners in Best of Western Washington. Here are some hints. Find out what this guy has to do with your favorite food truck. Winners all next week. Well, this week we're cruising the Caribbean. Tomorrow night, Jim takes us to St. Thomas. Up next, it's The Voice. How much more time do we have? 5 seconds? Well, 5 more seconds, so I'll just talk for...
And we are back for the start of the fourth quarter. Steve Willits, Luke Windsor, Todd Elvick. You're up in Everett, Washington at Goddard Stadium, Mariner High School. Everett Rain trailing 32-3. That's the bad news. Good news is that their offense is on the Portland side of the field. Michele Walsh rolls out to the left, recognizes she has enough space, points at Sarah Cooper to throw a block, doesn't get it, but does find some open space and gets ahead to the 31-yard line, a gain of 12, and a very late flag was thrown on the play.
And it's in the direction of a Portland player who was on the ground, so there could be a late hit or unnecessary roughness on Everett.
So they'll call it a gain of 11, so it's going to leave them short before the flag.
Walk in the back, away from the play.
As we await the call from the referee.
Personal foul against Everett, and especially those late hits or blocks in the backs away from the play. Very few things will drive a coach nuttier than that.
Especially after a nice play like that where Walsh
especially if it negates a nice play like that. And then really just a careless mistake.
Again, your officiating crew tonight, the referee is David Sather, your umpire, Scott Roan, linesman James Leach, line judge Bob Zamora, and back judge Chris Diedrich. All 5 of them doing a nice job this evening. So the Rain dropping back to where they were just a few moments ago before the play started, as they will huddle on the other side of the field. Ball being spotted at the 46-yard line. 2nd and 16 coming up. Music continuing to play down here below us.
Going back to the 90s.
Again, a little bit of everything. Or a few minutes ago, it was even 80s. I think we were getting some of that that funky music. That's Wild Cherry from the 70s, or late 70s. Walsh rolling out, being pressured, finally picks up a block. Nice job by Aaliyah. Finally fires it down the field over the middle. Shepard with the interception. And she will be gang tackled at the 41-yard line. And Michele Walsh with the 3rd pick of the night, which means that Portland's offense will come back onto the field here with 14:25 to go in the game.
And there was no one open, and Walsh tried to force it in there. And sometimes you tell a quarterback the best play you can make is to throw it away, and that would have been the best play that Walsh could have made there. Just throw it out of bounds onto the track over there. But don't force it. If the defense isn't giving you anything, don't force it.
Simone Shepard having a nice second half for Portland. She caught 3 passes, including a touchdown pass on the scoring drive in the third quarter. She was also responsible for the punt that North Shankman couldn't come up with and consequently turned it back over to her teammates, and now she comes away with an interception. So doing it with her hands on offense, hands on defense, and her feet for that matter.
All 3 phases.
3 phases of the game right there for her. Nicely done, and her team now sending their offense back onto the field. Ferguson staying in the game, fires it down the sideline. The ball is caught at the 41-yard line. Great job by Brianna Griggs to recognize it was underthrown. She comes back to it, and they pick up 16 yards on the play.
Whether it was on purpose or not, that back shoulder throw is maybe the most difficult throw for any defensive back to deal with. And more and more in the last 10 to 15 years, that has become a very popular play for offenses to run, and that's another example of why there.
And we mentioned earlier Brooklyn Holton playing out of position again tonight after the pregame injury to Thatch. So and Holton really playing fairly well so far tonight. She's come in from that corner position to make a number of tackles, and this time just gets turned around a bit. And Portland picks up another first down. Handoff going up the middle. Dawson getting another carry. We haven't seen her for a while. She finally gets pushed out of bounds along that left sideline after passing the 30-yard line. Looks like they might even give her the 29-yard line, which gives her a gain of 12.
Again, they get in that power I set, and they just run a double lead, and there was a huge hole for Dawson. She didn't get touched till at least about 5 or 6 yards down the field.
And Dawson already with 3 touchdowns tonight, all relatively short within 7 yards. Sure she would love to put a 4th one on the board before all is said and done. We mentioned it earlier, too. This is a team that has had 8 different players score on rushing touchdowns this year so far. Ferguson takes the snap, hands it off to Dawson. This time she goes to the right. Can't get by Pelham. Also wrapping her up there is number 85, Shania Holland. She's going to be dropped after picking up a yard, so we'll put her down at the 28.
Nice job there by Pelham, maintaining outside leverage, not allowing the running back to get around her, forcing her back inside towards her help. Good job.
Yeah, coming into the game, Riggleman was your leading rusher with 59 carries for 430 yards. Erin Miller was your second leading rusher with 233 yards, and we haven't seen her carry the ball much tonight. Riggleman and Miller both had 3 touchdowns coming into the game. Dawson was one of a few players with 2. She's since taken the lead on the team now.
Although Miller made her impact with maybe the play of the game with that interception in the first quarter.
A little bit of a miscommunication there as Ferguson not sure who to hand the ball to. Instead, she keeps it herself. And Casey Cornist, happy to see her back after going off with an injury a few minutes ago. She's in on the tackle. It looked like Forrest Larson might have given her a hand there as well. 74, Lacey Weigel also getting in on some of the action there at the nose tackle position.
Pretty safe to say the Portland offensive backfield was not on the same page.
No, not at all. Lindsey Jordan also lining up back there at number 75. She's on the line. Michele Walsh, your quarterback, playing safety. Got Emilia Carr at the left corner. Brooklyn Holton over at the right corner. Actually, Carr playing safety. It looks like
flickering, I think, is the corner.
It's flicking her, yeah, number 80.
Flicking her? Okay.
The birthday girl tomorrow.
Yes. I don't want to say her name wrong. My apologies.
We're going to get another flag thrown, and this time it is on the offense. Portland will be backing up 5 yards, making the degree of difficulty for a first down a little bit tougher here. 3rd and 17 coming up for the Shockwave.
No backup quarterback wants to see a 3rd and 17.
Gives them a chance to show off their arm a little bit here, perhaps. We'll see if they're going to let Ferguson throw with a 29-point lead. And 11:05 to go on the clock. Ferguson pitching the ball to Dawson, looking for a one-on-one situation. She tries to cut it back on Walsh. Walsh slows her down. Larson finishes off the play. Only going to be a 2-yard pickup for the Shockwave.
Great job by Walsh reading the option there, filling the alley, and she got just enough of Dawson there just to slow her up for help to come, and that's how you want to see the option defended. That was nearly textbook.
Ended up spotting her back at the 35, so only a 1-yard gain, 4th and 16. And interestingly enough, not only are they going for it, but they put Holly Petrie back into the game. Petrie a little bit taller, maybe more of an arm. Let's see if they try to throw for it, and they in fact do. Dumps it off over the middle to Shepard. Shepard at the 36, spins off of a tackler, fights forward to the 26. She's still going to be short of the first down, but nice job by Shepard to pick up 9 on the play.
A tight end middle screen on 4th and long, and hey, if it works, great. If not, you're still up 29 points with just over 10 minutes to go in the game. So
and almost as good as a punt. If you'd kicked it into the end zone, it's out at the 20 anyway. You're Tim Price. You're the head coach for Portland. I think you recognize that this game's pretty well in hand right now. You're not necessarily looking to run it up. If you get more points, so be it. Great. But if not, just pin the other team back a little bit further, and that's exactly what he did with 10-10 to go.
And any pass plays that Portland does call is probably going to be on 3rd or 4th down, and they're calling these plays also with an eye on the rest of their season, as far as maybe they're going to call some plays that they need to work on, call them in game situation, and try to get better.
Walsh back out on the field, shotgun formation. Takes the snap, fakes it one way, throws the other. Ball is picked off. It was initially hit by Dawson out of the air. Ricochets off of her hands, and Leah Hinkle, number 30, comes over. She just happens to be Johnny on the spot. Gets her hands all over it, and for the 4th time today, an Everett interception results in Portland's offense coming back onto the field.
Great job by Dawson from her free safety spot. She read that play the whole way, timed it just right. The only thing she didn't do is come down with the interception herself, but she was the one who made the play.
Dawson already has 3 touchdowns tonight, so she figures she's had her name in the stat book enough.
That's the time to get greedy if the ball's in the air.
Yeah, no kidding, right? Again, she's in a little bit of a touchdown battle now with Miller. Miller has 3 rushing, but she also has 2 pick sixes. Gives her 5. She came into the game as the leader. Dawson has since taken that title from her. Dawson going to stay in there anyway, playing tailback. A couple of nice big bodies in front of her as Gertis and Bear throw her some lead blocks, and she gets all the way ahead close to the first down marker. Might be just a little bit short. Needed to get to the 27. It might be the 28 where they're going to spot her.
Again, just power eye, double lead. There's not a whole lot of mystery to it. It's just, can you stop this? And lately Everett has not been able to.
Tess Bear is listed at 5'8", 185. Jessica Gertis, 5'6", 200. It's almost 400 pounds of lead blocking there before you even get to the line of scrimmage. Not a bad combination to have.
Paving the
way up front for you. Dawson once again, this time tries to sweep it further out to the left. Gets enough for the first down as she's thrown down at the 25-yard line. Stays in bounds as well, so that'll keep the clock running after the chains get moved.
It's almost like, I don't know if you ever played Madden football growing up, but sometimes you find a play that keeps working, just run it until the other team stops it, and that double lead might be sort of that play for Portland for the rest of this game.
Yeah, you move the chains, you move the ball downfield, you keep the clock running, and hey, if you're Portland and if you got you've got a 12:30 in the morning dinner date of some sort, you might even get home in time for that. Who knows? Ferguson takes the snap, hand off to Dawson. Dawson finding plenty of room up the middle, puts her shoulder down and gets ahead to the 16, 17-yard line. We'll call it a gain of 8 on the play, and those holes are getting bigger and bigger as this game progresses.
The Portland offensive line is just taking over this game. All those 1, 2, 3, 4-yard runs in the first half just kind of wearing down the Everett defense, and now they're starting to get the 8, 9, 10-yard variety runs.
Casey Cornist, who's been a little banged up all throughout the second half, takes her helmet off in frustration as she's hobbling. It looks as though she might have had a leg or foot injury of some sort.
She is definitely not happy on the sideline.
Wearing that 0-2 jersey. Number 2 earlier this year. And she went to an 82 after losing the jersey, and then they took that 8 and made it into a 0. And Ferguson, I think, might have just fumbled snap. Did she almost maybe even trip over one of her player's feet? It looked as though when she came back from center, she just lost her footing and went down to the ground.
Sometimes on a busted play, that's the only thing you really can do, just get the ball and fall down.
7:35 to go here, fourth quarter. Good to hear the fans are still into it. You can hear a lot of cheering down below, yelling,
that
get
ball."
that ball. Somebody's got a voice down there, a pair of lungs on them.
It's from the diaphragm.
Ferguson under center. Hey, it's always good to see the fans giving support to the team, even if they are, in fact, not going to come away with a victory, as Ferguson puts her shoulder down and might have picked up another first down in the process.
I think she did. She just lowered her shoulder and delivered the boom on the tackler there. Again, it was Portland running the option, although last couple times when they've ran the option, it's been the option, but with the quarterback saying, there's no way I'm keeping this. Because almost immediately after she pulled the ball out from the fullback on the fake, she's pitching it.
And it looks like Casey Cornish might be done for the day, as taking off her shoulder pads. Nomi Retta, one of the other Reign teammates who is also injured right now. I believe, get confirmation from Larry, Nomi was also involved in a car accident, correct?
Yeah, she's out for the year.
So she's out for the year after being in a car accident. So she's over there on the sideline.
Miller's out for the game also. She's hasn't had pads on since halftime.
Okay, we're being told also that Regina Buckmiller, number 91, out for the game also.
That's a big loss because she had a very good first half.
North Shankman also being treated on the sideline. The late pitch to the tailback there and putting her shoulder down and hitting hard. Rebecca Dawson showing some toughness there, and she just went head on with Emilia Carr, and Carr got the worst of that one. However,
Yeah.
she does get the tackle on the play.
She got the tackle, but she may have won. She won the battle, but she may have lost the war.
Yeah, she's going to know that she went up against Rebecca Dawson tomorrow morning when she wakes up. And Carr on the play now is going to check out as Nikki Pelham comes in to take her place and see if Emilia is able to shake that off and continue or not. 5:40 to go here. The clock continues to wind down. Portland doing a nice job of just eating up as much of that time as they can now.
5.5 minutes left to go in this game.
Ferguson with the snap, hands it to Dawson one more time. Dawson getting a good workout here in the fourth quarter. She lunges forward to the 11-yard line. Give her a gain of 7 once again.
So we may have a player shaken up. Maybe.
I think they're more than anything just unpiling. They're a little slow as Nikki Pelham was in on the tackle, and after just checking back into the game one play ago.
This drive, Dawson's been running it hard, so she's punishing any would-be tackler who dares to bring her down.
Keeping our own stats up here, so we haven't been doing that as thoroughly as I was trying to in the first half. But Dawson, nonetheless,
it's okay.
Three touchdowns. That's the main stat, but plenty of carries here in the fourth quarter as she is getting the brunt of the workout. A Portland team that didn't travel too many players, and that ball's thrown outside, and it needed to be inside as the intended receiver was Brenna Griggs. Trying to count on the sideline here right now. Looks as though there's about 12 or 13 reserve players for Portland, so really only traveled with 22 or 23 players.
Well, that wasn't a bad incompletion because had that ball been on target, Walsh was right there ready to either pick it off or deliver a big hit to the receiver. So I think the quarterback there may have saved her receiver some pain.
Let's see what she can do on this play. 4th and 7 coming up. Need to get to the 6-yard line for the first down.
Yeah, 5 or 6.
5 or 6. It's hard to tell from this angle right here. Ferguson once again with 3 running backs behind her. 4:37 to go here in the game. Fakes the handoff to Dawson, rolls out to the left. She's got a player in the flat. Short hops it to her. That was number 36, Tess Bear, who we've been calling plenty tonight. Not only when she's doing the kickoffs, but also lead blocking as well as running the ball from time to time. And that will turn the ball back over to Everett with 4:31 to go. And once again, the Reign will have a chance to bring their offense onto the field and perhaps get something going before the clock strikes 0.
And Bear would have had some room to run, too, because there was really no one in the flat covering her. Very fortunate for Everett that the ball fell short.
For as many times as Portland has had large leads on their opponents this year, Ferguson's stats coming into the game, she only had one pass attempt for a 115-yard completion all season long. So really when she's in there, you pretty much know that it's going to be ground and pound and a lot of running. She had 8 carries coming into the game as well. Getting a little dancing in the street by Van Halen played down in the stands now. Hearing a little bit of everything.
I heard some of the boss earlier.
A lot of variety, not only in the stands but on the field. We've seen a number of plays, and now Nikki Pelham getting ahead to the 22-yard line. She's going to pick up a first down, and it's a play that Everett needed earlier on in this game when they were finding the going tough in the middle and in the trenches. This time a hole opens up nice and wide, and Pelham takes advantage of it.
Look at that fake toss and run a counter tray back the other way with a fullback, and that was Pelham's best run of the night so far.
Everett obviously, I think, kind of resorting to the fact that this will be a loss, not necessarily going to a hurry-up offense, just trying to get momentum going, get something going anyway, and taking their time in the huddle as we're now down under the 4-minute mark. Pelham staying in the game. Starts to get a little darker and darker up here in the booth. Even Pelham now with another run. Spins out of the initial tackler and is finally brought down by 3 or 4 different players, one of which was Jessica Gertis, number 37.
And I appreciate that about Pelham. She's this late in the game, down 29. She's still running hard. She's still competing, and good to see. That's leadership from a captain.
Picked up 4 on the play, 2nd and 6.
Now some Joan Jett.
I love rock and roll.
Yep.
Be curious to see if we do get around the 2-minute mark, if in fact maybe Coach Russo decides to bust out a little 2-minute offense, try to go to a little more of a passing attack to see if you can't get it down the field. Again, I like the strategy right now. I like just trying to gain some positive things to come out of this week and to get ready for next week with the Tacoma Trauma coming to town. Screen pass there, throwing Fluckinger making the catch and getting ahead to the 32-yard line.
It's a little slip screen to the wide receiver, just short of the first down, but well-designed play. And what I liked about that with Walsh, first of all, the snap got there pretty on time, and then she just made her fake and then just got the ball out quickly.
Britt Flickinger with her first catch of the year, too. Nice job for her, and gets ahead to the 32-yard line, makes it a 3rd and 1 coming up here with 2:27 to go. Number 77 playing a little receiver right now, too. That's Stacia Haycock. Ball goes up the middle. Let's see where they give her. And the fumble happens after the play, so I think that's going to be
and forward progress to the 35.
Forward progress, giving them a first down, too.
You don't see too many wide receivers wearing 77.
No, I like it, though. Again,
Yeah.
You got the 22 playing quarterback, or 21, rather, playing quarterback for Portland. Why not bring a 77 out there and line her up wide out and see what she can do? I think the music's actually getting louder as we go along. I don't know if they're trying to keep the fans awake and into it. Maybe there's a little dance party going on down below us as far as I know.
Dance off.
Little 7 Nation Army going on down there right now. Mixing it up, going with the old stuff, and then shifting over to the newer music.
A song that every student section in college chants.
Almost to the point where it's not even that much fun anymore.
Yeah.
Flickinger, they figured why not? It worked a couple plays ago. Let's try it again this time, though. Portland ready for it. Read it beautifully. They stayed at home and ended up throwing her down for a loss as we're now down to 1:20 to go in the game.
And that play looked like Portland was ready for it, but also they were in a little tighter coverage, and wide receiver screens against press coverage, they just very rarely ever work. So it's one of the things that bugs me about all these spread offenses that you see teams in high school and college run is they run these wide receiver screens all the time, and whenever a team's in press coverage, they almost never work. Why not give your quarterback the freedom to, I don't know, audible?
Well, we'll see what
get out of it. Right here, press coverage, don't throw the slip screen.
Tripp sets out to the left. You've got Cooper, Felder, as well as Haycock lined up way out there. Walsh rolling out in their direction, looking for Cooper. Ball is tipped and into the hands of Felder. Nicely done. Wasn't the way you drew it up, but Sarah Cooper was the intended receiver. The ball gets knocked out of her hands. Felder coming up behind her. Happened to be right where the ball was ricocheted off of and into her hands, and she catches it down to the 48-yard line. Hey, it may not be pretty, but it makes it fun and makes it interesting, and why not? You've got less than 33 seconds to go in the game. Something positive to take away tonight.
Now, what I would say as a coach is that look like a flood pass concept where you have You have 3 players all on the same side of the field, one short, one intermediate, one deep. And what I would say to Felder, you ran your route too deep, but I'm not going to complain about the results. Because she shouldn't have been that close to the intended receiver.
Pelham up the middle. Pelham going backwards as number 4, Kuntz. Also in on the tackle was number 37, Gertis. Clock now at 22 and running. Let's see if Everett's going to try to maybe, and they're going to actually give her forward progress back to the line of scrimmage rather generously. 13, 12, 11. This might, in fact, be the game. Michele Walsh
she wants one more chance to sling it.
She's pleading with Billy Russo. Let me have one more opportunity. Russo's going to shake her off. The clock goes down to 0, and that is the end of the ball game. The Portland Fighting Shockwave coming away with the 32-3 victory tonight. Nice job of Aaron Miller going over there to shake the hand of the referee. Shockwave will now run their record to 4-1 on the season. Everett falling to 1-4. They're heading off the field. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we will wrap things up here from Frank Goddard Stadium in Everett. And don't forget also, next week, a big game coming up. It is Everett versus Tacoma. Chance for Everett to get some revenge on that 6-0 loss from last month. We're going to take a break right now. You're watching STSPN.com. And once again, the final score here from Frank Goddard Stadium. The Portland Fighting Shockwave 32, the Everett Reign 3. Portland, who again went 8-0 on their season last year, they improved to 4-1 this year. And Luke Windsor, a nice start to the game for the Reign. Unfortunately, once we got past the first few minutes, it was all Portland.
Just again, we keep going back to it. That interception by Miller for Portland late in the first quarter really changed this game and gave Portland all the momentum. And from there, it just went downhill for Everett. And it's just football's a game that is a great teacher for dealing with adversity. There, you will almost in every football game you're involved with, you're going to face adversity, and you have to be able to fight through it. And I give credit for a lot of the Everett players, though. They kept competing. They kept playing hard, even when times it just wasn't looking good. The effort never wavered, so I have to commend them for that.
And speaking of commending, I'd like to commend the Everett Reign as the players as well as the coaching staff. They lined up. They came over to the sideline, and on the count of 3, they all chanted, "Thank you, fans." So it's a nice family festive atmosphere. You see the players still out on the field talking to their friends and family, talking to one another. And we even noticed that when we interviewed Michele Walsh after the loss to Seattle. Definitely a family affair out there. And win or lose, these ladies are having a good time and giving it their all. And again, if you haven't been out here yet, you need to come on out to one of these games. They play the Tacoma Trauma next week, 6 p.m. start here at Frank Goddard Stadium, just off of 128th and Everett. Two teams that are very evenly matched, two teams that had a great battle going on just a month ago. And for Tacoma, a chance for them to maybe pick up another win, and for Everett, a chance at revenge. So we will certainly encourage people to get out, and if you can't make it, watch us on STSPN.com. We will be broadcasting that game as well, so we'll be right back here again. Luke Windsor, great job tonight. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Been a pleasure as always. And for Todd Elvick, we appreciate everybody watching. My name is Steve Willits. Final score one more time. Portland 32, Everett 3. You've been watching STSPN.com. Have a great night.